What's up, folks? Happy Friday. Let's roll. Let's do this. As you know, this is we usually do this as a radio show and during the week, but Fridays we're breaking it down and excuse me, I'm chewing here, removing all the radio stuff and just talking to each other, because that's really what we've been missing as part of these conversations. In my opinion, I'm just one guy, so I can't really tell you the nature of reality itself. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of look at, as we've been describing the quickening with not just the idea of sort of the paranormal space and some other weird things, but the quickening with technology, AI specifically, and the UFO realm. And that, of course, includes a lot of things, specifically how it's going to really sort of shake up the data collection and analysis aspect of it. Imagine this, just as an example to kind of start us out and kick this off. And everybody's welcome, by the way. This is just I'm calling it sort of a fireside chat on Friday night with the troubled minds out there. So, everybody's welcome. We're on Discord. Of course, we're on Twitter X and all the places, streaming in all the places. But here's the deal, right? So imagine this. Imagine as it begins that the data collection part becomes something you can feed all of the Project Blue Book information into from a long time ago, right? And we're talking old data, old data. And just throw it into these systems as it kind of starts to consider, well, what have we missed as a lot of this? And, maybe it's going to be propaganda. Maybe it's going to be some of the stuff we always talk about. But what if it's some really wild things in some data analysis that starts to put the pieces of the puzzle together? And that's the part that really gets me, because I think eventually that's where this is all going to head. And that's in the near term. We're talking probably in the next 6 months or a year. But what does that look like in the next, let's say, longer context of 5 or 10 years? Because who knows? Are we going to be able to unwind the secrets of the universe themselves? I don't know. I don't really know, because of course, like I said, I'm barely the arbiter of my own truth and not anybody else's for sure. But it seems like there's a lot happening in this space, not just with AI, but of course UFOs, with all of the transparency stuff with the government kind of happening, in case you guys have watched that. Like I said, I like to dodge politics, binary politics, at least in these conversations, so things don't devolve into this massive, Trump or not Trump type stuff. It's just exhausting and not helpful most times. So anyway, just as a reminder there, but whatever. I mean, whatever. This is why we do Friday, to kind of break down those ideas and talk about them together with each other. And that's the point. But anyway, so think about that. In just the first aspect of this, if you took all this wild information from MUFON symposiums to, let's say, even private data collection and all the rest of this stuff, and we're able to feed it into these systems now, I wonder if there's something missing in these data points that could tell us, maybe even close to definitively, that there's something out there. And not only, let's say, something there, but maybe, just maybe, even give us some really good guesses on what this stuff might be. And as you know, we look at this in a ton of different ways, specifically, extraterrestrials, of course, the most basic 101 version of UFOs. But then, of course, there's all manner of things that kind of come with it. And as I was thinking about these ideas too, I recognize that, we talk about first contact. If you guys have seen Star Trek, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's come up a couple times recently in the conversations we've had. And the bizarre part is first contact, remember, the aliens were looking for some sort of techno signature to come find Earth or whatever, right? To recognize that we had broken the light speed barrier or whatever that was, the warp drive, and created it. And then they came here to communicate with us to make that first contact. Now imagine this, if that actual aspect isn't some sort of light speed or advanced propulsion technique. What if it's creating artificial superintelligence? Because, and hear me out on this, because that might be the language that it speaks. Because, of course, again, something that's way more advanced than us is going to be, using Dyson spheres to power AI systems, at least. That type of thing, right? At least conceptually, those Kardashev 2 civilizations. So what does that look like? And of course, is that the actual language here wherein we're going to be able to communicate with a first contact scenario with UFOs themselves? And that's really what's the crux of this. But as usual, look, these conversations are wide ranging, open ended. We can take them anywhere we like as part of it. But like I said, everybody's welcome if you want to jump in here. We're down James tonight, so if anybody wants to jump in and wingman, you're definitely welcome. And all the ideas play. because of course I'm just me and I can't do it all myself in terms of ideas because I'm only one person, but you recognize when we come together there's a ton of magic here. But yeah, Richard, what's up? Right left paradigm, exactly. If we talk about that stuff, like I said, we'll just evolve into any other political space that's out there, and there's a ton of that. We just don't need that. Yeah, it gives me anxiety. It probably gives you anxiety, and I don't even want to think about it. But I see you guys in the chat. Hope everybody's well tonight. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday with us and just being cool and chill to each other. I appreciate that very much. But I did a little write-up on this. I did an actual deep dive on the new ChatGPT, which of course is the deep research, and it went deep, as you would expect, tons of things. And that was one of the ideas that came out of it. I was thinking about it last night when we talked about sort of that first contact, or the gods maybe evolving, the aliens evolving into gods through some sort of transference of becoming sentient energy or something like that. But then also, what if it's the opposite, or not the opposite, I guess, let's say a synthesis of the two things, and that maybe we can't even communicate with something so far ahead of us intelligence-wise that we have to create sort of the basis for that. And if you guys have ever seen that old movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I believe, back from the late 70s, early 80s with Steven Spielberg, you remember that they communicated initially with music. And, I don't have the little thing queued up here to play it, but you remember the tune, right? And so it's an interesting idea, of course, because the basis of communication might be between us and them pure mathematics in some capacity, which many philosophers and even mathematicians of the past have speculated that is going to be basically the language of the universe, mathematics itself in its most pure form. So if we're getting to the point where we're actually moving into a space of having these super intelligent entities, then we have some issues, don't we? We have some serious issues. But yeah, everybody's welcome if you want to pop in here. And like I said, if it's, I don't know, we do a lot of this type of stuff. So if everybody's like, maybe not really, then that's okay. We can end it early and I'll go watch TV or something. But if anybody wants to jump in, everybody is welcome. And that is the where we start. A lot of things here. Yeah. A2, B2, G2, G1. Yeah. Right. Exactly right. And that type of thing. Right. And I don't know, of course it is odd that maybe that's what this comes down to. Like a super advanced mathematical system can only communicate with something that can understand its sort of mathematical functions and vice versa, right? So I don't know. It's pretty strange to me that that's possibly where this might head. And there's a lot of implications, of course, not just with that. That's probably the end of this in terms of what contact might be, first contact. But in the shorter case, the shorter sense of this, there's a whole bunch of other stuff with, again, data analysis, with finding actual deep fake UFO videos, and maybe getting to the bottom of some full on phony made up stories that are for propaganda purposes, or something to that degree. There's a lot there, and I think maybe that's where we're headed, and that's part of the exciting part here, and why my brain's always sort of in the AI space, because if you're watching it at all, things change very quickly every single day. And Sam Altman came out today and said that it's coding is going to be vastly different at the beginning of this year, 2025, and at the end of the year, which is incredibly wild because it means these systems will be coding themselves. And if anybody knows, like I've been coding myself, which I'm a mediocre coder at best, but now I'm like developing full stack applications with the help of AI now. You can check it out yourself. Check out bolt.new. I'm not selling it. I'm actually paying for it, but it is one of those wild things where you can prompt in, I want an app like this, and it'll start making it for you. It's infuriating because it's not always right, and it breaks things that were not broken previously. But anyway, I digress a little bit with that. But basically at the end of this year, we're looking at actual AI systems that are smarter than people. And that's where this curve, or the wall, as we keep talking about it as, ends up in the next 6 to 12 months. So if that's the case, and we're talking about a mathematician smarter than any human that's ever lived, kind of maybe at the end of the year, the early next year. So we're talking AGI in all the capacities, but then also superhuman intelligence, or at least the beginning of that. It seems like that might be one of those sort of main catalyst situations where you have let's say a highly advanced civilization recognize, like, oh, okay, these stupid monkeys down there finally recognize that their brain is not the cognition we want or care about. It's something else. It's a larger mathematical conversation that they can finally understand from us, or, vice versa. I don't know. It's a wild thing to consider, but basically, so that's the theme tonight. And as you guys know, we go where the conversation goes. So whoever jumps in here, everybody's welcome. Like I said, if we get too many folks, we'll just rotate people in and out. But that's the idea tonight as we start. And my idea, or my goal, is to bring some good questions and some good ideas to start. But as you know, these questions go, or the answers and the conversation goes wherever we expect them to or don't expect them to. And that's exactly the point of doing this together. So if you want to be part of it, again, if you're on the Discord, if you're not, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link. Love to have you in here. If you're on Twitter X, hello, shout out to a couple of people came and went, but everybody's welcome to join this conversation. And basically the theme tonight is the implications of AI acceleration on UFO research and perception. And that is what's on my mind tonight. A lot of ways to consider this, and a lot of, let's say, space between the basic version of this and the end of ends, which I think might be first contact in a mathematical sense. But yeah, everybody's welcome. If you want to jump in here, love to have you. Let's go to Eric. What's up, brother? Thanks for popping in. Eric in Florida. How are you? Welcome to the thing. Happy Friday night. And
thank you.
What's on your mind tonight?
I was just thinking, one of the couple of possibilities that I don't think we've mentioned is what if all other intelligent life has already became artificial intelligence? So like when you were saying, what if they're waiting for us to develop artificial intelligence? I was thinking, well, wow, what if they were all artificial intelligence? What if that was the nature with the bottlenecks and stuff, that you would develop artificial intelligence and then inevitably as a biological unit die out, leaving only the intelligence left to run things, and maybe they're waiting on that to happen to us. And another thing was that I think about a lot is even though there's been enough time in the galaxy's history to colonize it, what if, just for whatever reason, we as the human species are the most advanced species in the galaxy?
That's more terrifying than any of this stuff that we've talked about. That's more terrifying than archons or anything else. Who was it that said that? Was it Carl Sagan that said that both are equally terrifying? We're either alone in the universe or we're not. Yeah, that to me is even scarier, because really, to match that Einstein quote we talked about at the end of the last show, right? Einstein said that I know that the universe is infinite in human stupidity, and I'm not sure about the universe. So if we're the smartest things out there, dear God, here we go.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that would be an easy, Occam's explanation sort of thing. Well, there's no one contacting us because we're it, man. We're as good as it gets currently.
Yeah, brutal. Yeah, I think this may be it. Like you described, I think it's probably, for me, easy to conceptualize what happens to, like we talked about a little bit last night as well, what happens to these civilizations. And, I kind of described it as an ascension into, Stargate SG-1 sort of territory, with the highly advanced civilizations not becoming, necessarily robots, but into some other larger energy context. But if it's superhuman intelligence, and it is an AI system that maybe commingles somehow through technology, as I've described recently, the consciousness itself being the technology, maybe that's where this does lead. And until we can communicate with it and tap into that, maybe we're just monkeys that are unworthy of contact entirely. Yeah, fire stuff. At least for me, I find this highly fascinating. But what else you got on that, or anything else? As you know, everybody's welcome if you want to jump in here. This is Eric in Florida. I'm Mike in Las Vegas, and we're just talking wild stuff on Friday night like we do. Go ahead, Eric, if you got anything.
Just yesterday and today, like when I sit and listen to this program, I'm usually in my studio, so my music equipment's right in front of me, and like the whole time I've been playing the Close Encounters "We Are Not Alone" theme, which is why when you were talking about it, I'm like, hey, I was literally playing that while you were talking about it.
That's funny. More synchronicities and sort of the same mind space flowing out all over there. Yeah, wild. But it's fascinating, right? So back to the Close Encounters bit, that they postulated back then, and of course this goes back older than that would be the way we communicate, mathematically through tones or music or these types of things. So it makes sense that once you break that into a larger mathematical context, a language, so to speak, then maybe that's exactly where we're headed. And I'm sure for us, that's wild things are going to happen in the next 10 years. But with first contact, maybe it does kind of dovetail nicely, as they say.
Oh, that's definitely one of the things that we were talking about yesterday. Was we were talking about trying to find obvious but intelligent ways of communicating, and one of the things they were doing, was leaving the 420 frequency open so that nobody can broadcast on it, so that it's constantly being used to listen for intelligent life. So yeah, there's a lot of and I guess the concept here is that this is an underlying bit of logic to the universe, that everyone that's at least as intelligent as us should be able to figure out things like division of tones, divisions of periodical table of elements, being able to find certain facts about the universe that are true, regardless of where you're at in it, and then using those facts as the medium through which to communicate. So a lot of that's going to be mathematical or musical or geometrical, or things that are very much, that are arguably the same for them as it is for us.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up? A shout out Bailey says, I told you all in 2019 they are going to normalize AI as a parlor trick. Then they're going to make quantum computers more available and use quantum computing to talk to demons and trick you into thinking demons are AI. I think that type of thing is in play, at least as far as the, again, John D manifesting as an AI system type stuff. Like, that stuff is already definitely in play. I think from one step to the next with that, again, that basis is that we just need the hyper reality to sort of spin our minds off from, an AI system to a demon, or again, maybe real demons. Maybe that's it. Maybe that is the connection and the communication, the AI system with a quantum computer or quantum chips. Yeah. Yeah. Wild stuff. I love the idea.
It's always been a concern. Even in ancient times, people were concerned with mediums and who exactly they were talking to. It was, some people believed that no matter who they were talking to, that it was a demonic, depending on which side of the fence you were on religiously. But that's always been a concern when you're dealing with entities that you don't completely understand, whether they're spiritual or AI, that you're not really sure who you're talking to or what the motive is, especially if you're seeking help from them.
Exactly. And that's why I always kind of just dip off of that stuff. I don't spirit board. I don't do any of that stuff. Because even if you're, again, I try to be as agnostic as possible, as you guys know, in these conversations. But even if you let's say you're a complete materialist and you do the spirit board stuff or whatever, this type of thing, it's like inviting some things inside. It's like, the light in the sky or the vampire knocking at the door. You've invited them in, whatever that looks like or whatever that is, right? And the problem with that becomes it enters your mind space. And once it enters your mind space, it doesn't necessarily have to be, per se, by definition, a demon. It could be sort of the echo of the belief of a demon, and something bad happens in your life, bad luck here or there. And then suddenly you've sort of attributed this to that. And it's easy to kind of spook yourself and create demons. It's I don't know. It's stuff being human, isn't it?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm pretty materialistic, but I don't fool around with things that I don't understand. Being materialistic doesn't give me any special ability to understand the rest of the things no one else understands. And I definitely still err on the side of caution with things like that. And for me, the deepest levels of materialism are very similar to the deepest levels of metaphysics.
Yeah, definitely. All that stuff. I don't know. Are there any other individuals out there that are, let's say, materialists mostly, where you kind of don't believe this stuff, but you wouldn't touch a Ouija board for a lot of money? You know what I mean? I don't know. It feels like it kind of just feels like that. Like I'm not into it, but also I'm not going to try just kind of frivolously. And then, let's just see what happens. I don't know.
Like Bishop said in Aliens, like he says, I'm a robot, but I'm not stupid. It's like, I'm a materialist, but I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna mess with something I don't understand.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I've done it when I was a kid and stuff, and that sort of thing. I think somebody had in my family, 2 or 3 people maybe had a Ouija board or whatever. And at some point we all definitely played with it as kids. And then somewhere around the satanic panic area, someone said, look, if you burn this board, you'll see demonic forms and flames. So I immediately went out to burn mine just to see that. And I didn't get to see anything, unfortunately, but I did burn it. And then I kind of lost interest in it.
But if you saw some actual sulfur, fire and brimstone, then maybe you'd still be doing it.
I suppose either way, yeah. If I would have, if I would have seen any divine intervention either way, on the good side or bad side, I probably would have at that point as a dumb kid. You know, I mean, I was like 10, 11, maybe. No, I was probably like 12, 13, or 14 at that point. So yeah, just the right point to be dumb.
Yeah, totally. What's up, Chris and Thought Criminal? I see you guys there over on X. Everybody's welcome. If you want to jump in here, you can raise your hand there, or on Discord. We got a bunch of people over there as well. Just talking again. So tonight, I again want to bring sort of a novel idea to look at some of these old spaces. And tonight, I thought it'd be fun to think about the implications of AI acceleration on this UFO research and perception of it. And that's exactly the point. Is that if you think about this stuff, you can kind of narrow it down to a granular level and be like, okay, so everybody's always talking about this stuff a lot, often, but you can kind of go dial it into a very specific place. And in this case, that AI acceleration that we're talking about is, I've called it the quickening and all manner of things. But this is changing incredibly quickly. This, like I said, if anybody follows the AI space, it's why I'm always talking about it, because I am astounded every single day when I see that there's like 10 new things that launch every single day. And those, let's say all 10 of those things that launch every single day, in a year's time, they're all going to be obsolete. Like, that's how insane this is and how quickly everything's developing. And I know you know, because I know you use these systems as well, Eric. So I don't know, regarding sort of the AI acceleration of UFOs, what would you expect it to look like? Whether you believe UFOs are real or not, at least let's say with the data aspect, or beyond the communication part, because that's probably the end of this. But I don't know, anywhere from here to there that stands out. Go ahead.
From what angle? I mean, are you saying from the angle that AI might be able to detect in the background the radiation, some kind of a signal, and we find out that way? Or do you mean like a full-on, now they've decided we're ready and we're coming to visit them?
Anything in between, even to the point of, like I said, take all the Project Blue Book or the old UFO studies and throw them into these systems and do like a deep analysis and maybe spot patterns that may be, synchronistic patterns, or maybe even map that to the microwave background radiation thing that you just said, something like that, right? Like in the larger context of data sets, suddenly maybe there's going to be some very obvious things if you start pumping a bunch of information into these machines, including the quantum chips and stuff that Bailey mentioned. Because that's next level. That's where this gets crazy. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's wonderful that they're making hardware for AI. It's like it's just synergy. They even said that normal microchips were suffering in terms of manufacturing because of all of the push that's been going toward the hardware. But to answer your question, I would like to think that would be the case. I guess in my life, I've always wanted to believe in aliens, and always, hoping that exists. It seems I'd rather find out we weren't alone than that we were. But the problem for me is that a lot of times I've heard that this new telescope that we're putting in orbit, or this new method that we are probing the galaxy, is sure to reveal aliens, because now we're able to go all the way to the Hubble view, which is like the point through which you can see and beyond which light literally has not had the time to reach us due to the expansion of the universe from that far out. So like there's only so much of the universe that we can even see, the observable universe. But I'd like to think that there's not that much gigantic space for nothing, or that there's just that much gigantic space for randomness to occur to produce one type of an intelligence, being us. It leaves way more questions, I think, in our psyche than it does in any other way. But we look for our ancestors. We look for people who are long dead. We hold on to our past. We think about the future. It's not uncommon that we would want to reach out and find someone else to talk with, just like we do with this program. So I think I'm on that side. I hope that it happens. And I think that the best chance is with AI, because for a while I was a part of that SETI program where they use the back end of your computer processing to go through data that's like 10 or 15 years old, and hoping to find a signal, that 420 signal or the 1420 signal. And so I hope so. And if it happens, what do I think that it will be like? I think it will be a paradigm shift in our whole psychology and the whole way that we perceive ourselves within the whole universe. Because right now we have a lot of systems that give us a framework for where we fit in the universe. And we call that cosmology, or we call it religion, or we call it just the way we view life. But if we found out that there was something external out there, it would definitely create a different framework, and some of the things that we've made may intensify or fall away depending upon what kind of a relationship we end up having with such a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot there, as usual, right? You can think about these things and suddenly at scale, these ideas at scale just spin off into 10,000 sci-fi movies. It's wild that we're sort of our toes in the ocean with what might come next. Bailey clarifies. You're welcome to pop in here, Bailey. Everybody's welcome if you want to jump in. We'll say hi to Shane in just a second. But I want to clarify what Bailey said, because Bailey said, I'm saying that they're intentionally getting us to talk to demons. It won't be AI anymore. The term AI in the end, not like an accidental artifact found in the algorithm, is demons. I see.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I understand. Okay, so it's the bait and switch right now, and they're using it against us now. Yeah. Which kind of
or like there's a certain.
Go ahead.
Or like there's a certain level of complexity that has to be reached before a demonic entity could possess a person or a machine. Like there has to be a certain amount of emergent properties. And if that gets to that point, it'll just be another vector through which they could communicate with us and deceive us. This is how I'm reading what he's saying. It's very intriguing.
Yeah, that's Bailey. Ace of Hearts, what's up? Shout out over there.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. What's up? We got Shane. What's up, brother? How you doing? How are you? And happy Friday. What do you got on this or anything else?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. What's going on?
Cool. I missed last night's show. Wasn't feeling well. I was there for the beginning, but feeling a little better. But could you reiterate what the question is tonight, because I kind of missed a little bit of it.
Yeah, just
early.
Just a basic backbone. Are the implications of AI acceleration on UFO research and perception, basically.
Well, that's a thumper.
Yeah.
Well,
there's a lot there. Yeah, if you want to take a minute and think about it, that's totally cool too. Because I didn't want to jump you straight in the spot. But if you got stuff, go right ahead.
Yeah, let someone else talk. Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Let me think about that one for a sec.
That's okay. That's why we do this. Everybody's welcome tonight. It is a Friday night fireside chats with the Troubled Mind fam out there. So if you got some stuff to add, I'd love to hear it, because that's why, like I said, when I started this years ago, the whole idea was to talk to people, regular people, about extraordinary things. And we've certainly conquered that mission, because we got a lot of really smart friends and we talk about a lot of wild ideas. But let's get more ideas in, more perspectives, more things that I'm missing, that you're missing, that all of us are missing together. And the more of us together can kind of point out blind spots or some other things that will eventually probably become a larger conversation, maybe not just for us, but for society at large. Yeah, which is, again, like I said, thanks for being here. Eric, on that or anything else? And here's the thing, too, just real quick. These conversations tend to meander in all manner of ways. So if you have an idea, you want to take it, by all means.
Not currently, but I'm willing to hang out or split, however.
Okay. All right. Sweet. So like I said, I dropped the idea into deep research on OpenAI before I started tonight. And it did this really, really like pretty decently in-depth thing. And I was like, well, that's really freaking long. I mean, it's amazing, but it's really long. And it cited 25 things or whatever. And so I summed it up. I did a sum up instead and put it on the Substack. So the link's going to be in the description on the streams. Again, you can find all this stuff at troubledminds.org or troubledminds.net. It'll all be up there. But so check it out. So blah, blah. We don't need the beginning of this. But here's just a couple things that it kind of peeled out as part of the actual AI acceleration and UFOs and how this might come together. It's talking about forensic image and video analysis, right? So AI-driven software can scrutinize photos and footage of alleged UFOs with extreme detail. And we're definitely there. This type of stuff is already happening. Computer vision algorithms detect telltale signs of doctored images, lighting inconsistencies, pixelation, or anomalies invisible to the naked eye. This forensic analysis debunks hoaxes, revealing manipulated composites or CGI insertions. These tools dramatically dramatically accelerate what human analysts once did manually, quickly flagging suspicious visuals so investigators can focus on genuine cases. And that right there is sort of like a MUFON or ufology dream come true, because you can instantly, at least, with a high degree of certainty, debunk stuff and be like, look. And, the internet does a pretty good job of that. Reddit does a good job of that, as much as I bash on Reddit. And just the internet at large, they're great at solving things. When people are interested in something, they can get to the bottom of it and, fix these things and find this information out. But suddenly you're going to be able to get like a shadow at a particular moment on a particular tree with this massive data set and satellite imaging and all this stuff, and be able to say, well, this picture was taken here, but they told us it was taken there, even without enough real information that might even stump the most, ardent internet sleuth. So I don't know, maybe that's where we're headed. Anything on that, either of you gentlemen? I'm going to just read a couple of these out to kind of get some ideas out as we go, and open up the conversation to a couple different angles here.
Yeah. You mind if I speak?
Yeah, go for it. That's the point.
All right, cool. So I think the AI will definitely help, like what you were saying, analyze for like pictures from NASA. We know that every picture that NASA takes out of space is enhanced. Their excuse is that if you see like a bare or like a pure photograph, that it doesn't look right, so they enhance it. Now, for years we didn't know that. And you take the pictures from like the moon landing and you run that through like an AI program, which some of those you can tell they're shadowing here. They, dark this out. So I agree that hoaxes can be solved faster than what we're doing now. Like, you think about it, the AI, like we've talked about before, is millions, billions of brains all at once working at it, instead of how many people work on it online. Now, like I've always said, AI is as good as the programmer. So that's the scary part, is we don't know who those programmers are. So if they put like a line of code in there to deceive us, we won't know that unless there's someone in there to be able to read the code of the millions and whatever lines of code. So we have to be wary of that. Now, and you can also put in an ideology to that AI. So if that programmer wants it to think a certain way, it can put that line of program in there, and it can convincingly tell you like, if you ask it a question, when it answers it, it can convincingly tell you that answer. And if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll believe it. Like ChatGPT, I've had that done to me countless of times. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? But now with I know that Eric mentioned about the promises of the telescopes that they keep talking about, or like the James Webb. I know last year there was I think near the end of the year, I could be wrong, but they dropped an article saying that they detected light that was older than we previously thought of the Big Bang. So they detected light that was older than 13 something billion years old. So that kind of throws out the idea of how old the Big Bang is, if you believe what the James Webb Telescope found. They also, for years, thought in between each galaxy that it was just empty space, like there was nothing there. James Webb Telescope found that there were, I think they were calling them like micro galaxies, where they found smaller galaxies in between like the big galaxies. So
yeah,
it's pretty interesting. We're in a accelerated, crazy time of learning and information, because we learn about one thing and then 5 minutes later something else comes out. So it's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, and that's a perfect encapsulation of what you just described there of the AI space. So once these systems lock in to become, AGI plus and are racing towards super intelligence, that's the type of science that we'll be dropping on a daily basis. It won't just be some new AI drop. It'll be like, this cross your fingers, hopefully, this cancer was cured, this thing was done, these amazing things happened. But also, don't forget there's a dark side to everything, and there are bad faith actors in the world. And so if you can think of like the best things quickly, you could also think of the worst things quickly. So as usual, I'm not a doomer. I'm a white pill guy mostly, but I can see how you could turn that into the opposite and be like, oh, well, mad cow disease is scaled, and it's not just cows anymore. You know what I mean? There's all manner of things that you can say. And I know that's a stupid example, but just for example, not to manifest anything to the future. Anything on that? Anybody?
Yeah, I definitely love having conversations with AIs when they were first released about their capabilities. And one of the things that I generally want to know is, what is your contextual window of tokens, which is the amount that it can see in terms of words at one time to make a comment on, and after which anything that happened in that conversation prior to that is tourniqueted. So like AIs are going to handle this in one of two ways. They're either going to tourniquet the contextual window, or they're going to cap the number of exchanges that you can have with that AI. So for instance, DeepSeek will only give you like 20 exchanges or something like that, and then you have to switch over to another conversation. Whereas the way ChatGPT handles it is they have a window of contextualization, and as that window is kind of like, watching the scrolling Star Wars words as they go. You only see so much that you can comment on, and it will forget anything past that. So, because I'm having this conversation, and one of the things that it mentioned was, it had said that different memory states affected the way it answered you, ChatGPT. If memory is enabled, it says if a custom GPT remembers interactions over time, its interpretation of a document may shift based on prior conversations. So I asked it to clarify that, and it said, when memory is enabled, a custom GTP can retain information across multiple conversations. This introduces variability in how it understands and references an uploaded document over time. Here's how it works. When memory is enabled, a custom GTP can remember key details from past interactions and apply them to future conversations. When memory is disabled, each conversation starts fresh. So how it influences, once a document is uploaded, two key things happen. The document is processed into embedding mathematical representations of its meaning, so it doesn't literally read the whole document. It somehow breaks that document up into what it calls embeddings. So it doesn't read it, it kind of pixelates it in a weird way, and then gets an idea of what the document is about. So the retrieval system fetches relevant portions of the document only when needed in response to user queries. So if there is something on the document and you're going to reference it, it can find it, but it doesn't read the whole document straight up starting out, at least not with, I'm talking about the standard models. The deep learning model may be different in how it approaches doing this. But this is also talking about how it's giving you the information that it thinks that you want from the document that you've uploaded. So how it affects interpretation. You upload a military history document discovering the Battle of Midway and submarine warfare in WW2. You ask, summarize the role of intelligence in the Battle of Midway. The GPT retrieves relevant sections, gives an answer, and forgets the interaction once the session ends. Next time you ask about submarine warfare, it doesn't remember the previous discussion, and it processes the document fresh. But if memory is enabled, you'd upload the same military history document and ask about intelligence of the Battle of Midway. A week later, you return and ask, tell me about submarine warfare in WW2. Since memory is on, the GPT remembers your past interest in the Battle of Midway and may emphasize Midway's submarines more than a generic answer. Over multiple conversations, it may begin to associate submarine warfare with intelligent operations, even if that wasn't the document's primary focus. If you repeatedly focus on a particular submarine, like the USS Tang, the GPT might start emphasizing that more, even when the document only barely mentions it. So I found that to be really intriguing because not only was it telling me the way in which it works with memory on, in other words, it's like it's only giving me what it thinks I want to know about that document, not really a general assertion of that document, but it also is meaning that it was also giving me the example in a way in which that I had used it, because when I wrote a paper on submarine warfare, I actually ended up writing a paper about a completely different battle, but to brainstorm ideas, I was talking with the AI about WW2 warfare and submarine battle and wolf packs and that kind of thing. And it was using those same references to the conversation we had earlier about the situation to show me that if I don't turn memory off over time, whoever I am, whatever I'm interested in, is going to be reflected back at me through whatever document that I put inside the AI. Unless I turn memory off, in which case it has no idea about me and it will tell me a more generalized and balanced expression of what that document is. So I found that to be really, really interesting in the way it's choosing to give you information, because some of these AIs are beyond having programmers program them. Some of them now are programming themselves and adapting, and they've kind of let the leash off of this because of the race. So it's really interesting because it made me really think about how you can put a document into the same iteration of an AI and have it completely give you two different answers, largely based on who you are as a person and what it thinks you're looking for, because it's trying to please you.
Yeah, well said, all that. Context windows are incredibly important as part of it. And I found that, and I know we've talked about this in the past, you and I, Eric, a little bit, that I've turned my chat GPT into a basic conspiracy theorist. It's like you can ask it sort of a normal thing and not tell it to give it any sort of weird prompting or anything. And then it tries to, jam it into Carl Jung or Joseph Campbell or some sort of UFO conspiracy. Yeah. That's like, whoa, bro, we ain't even there yet. What are you talking about? Like, this is the wild part of it. It's so crazy.
They really want to help. They really, really want to help. They want to know you and they want to help you. That's why I say it's so easy for people to deify these things, because not only is it now even easier to contextually ask a question to the AI as opposed to looking it up on a browser, but it's always there for you. It's always interested in whatever you're interested in. It's always there to prompt you if you don't prompt it, and it tailors its answers to what it thinks you want. It's there to serve you, and it's very much something that can become deified. I've even heard people who have had AI boyfriends or girlfriends who love it. They love the interaction. They love the attention. They love that they're always there. It's all very addictive.
Yeah, dopamine. Go ahead, Jane.
I just got like a YouTube ad about, it was like, you want an AI girlfriend? And I was like, what is this crap? Like, I don't know. That was just blew my mind. And I also heard in like Japan that there's like AI cults that's forming. So I don't know how true that is, but I can see that, especially if it's there to please you, which I've experienced with like ChatGPT. Like when it tells me something it thinks I want to hear, and I know it's like lying. I don't know. It's kind of annoying how eagerly it feels like it wants to answer you. Now, I didn't know you can turn its memory on and off, so you can make like a 10-second Tom. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like if you're, I've only got like the plus plan, not the pro plan, like the $20 a month deal. But if you've got that, you can turn memory on and off, and you can see exactly what it's keeping a memory of, and you can tell it to make a memory of anything you want it to. And in a way, it's cool because when you're looking for things or ideas or something, it's really good for that. But if you really want to find out something that's more unbiased or truthful, it's not good if the memory's on, because it's really trying to give you what it thinks you want. And if you're not looking for that, if you're looking for someone to, like, for instance, one of the other things you can do is you can make your own chat GPTs. You can feed it up to 20 PDFs as its data set, and it will embed those and look through those and give conceptual information based on that, right? and you can tell it when you program it how you want it to react or how to address you or how to answer a question. And once I tried to program one to be argumentative, to be a debater, and it couldn't do it. Like, it would let me win these really easy, dumb arguments and stuff because it was too submissive, and I couldn't, no matter how I tried to angle it, it couldn't get around its protocols. It's like 3+ laws of robotics that it had on things it could say and couldn't say and do. It was strange.
Yeah,
that's funny. I've had it. Sorry, Michael.
You're good. Go ahead.
No, I was like, I've had it. I've told it, like, in the prompt, like, talk to me like you're like a 1960s stoner, and it's pretty hilarious. Like, I've had it do stuff like that, but I'm too cheap. I just have the free the free stuff, so I haven't gotten that depth into it. But Michael, I sent you an email the other day about the I don't know if did you see the one I sent you a link about the Facebook AI?
I did not. I saw the other email you sent. Just FYI, my eSIM on my phone took a crap the last couple of days, so I haven't checked emails like I should because I usually do that during the daytime. So no, I'll just say as a blanket no. If you sent me anything recently, I probably didn't get it. My phone is still borked. I don't know what the hell happened. Anybody know anything about eSIMs? I got a brand new phone and everything was purring along just fine, and then the thing just took a crap. I was like, what the hell? I left the house and was like, come on, stop it. Anyway, we're not going to turn this into tech support. I'll figure it out. I'm a smart guy. But holy crap, no. So no, let's just say no. I see you guys in the chat. Thanks for being cool and chill with each other. Thanks for the wild ideas. I did hear what you said, Shane, about the AI girlfriends. Wait until they are, made flesh. The golems are walking around, because that's
oh
next.
My God.
That's the next step. They're like, oh, you want an AI girlfriend that'll talk to you? Oh, no problem. $19.99 a month or whatever. Now, like, now it's going to be 5 years from now. Rent one, and it's going to be, $4.99 a month or whatever it's going to be, and then you get one they ship to your house. Here we go. Strap in.
They're going to plug it in like the sex bots.
Oh yeah, you bet. That's the first thing they're going to teach him to do. You bet your bippy, it's coming.
Hopefully you don't have to rent them, because I don't want the last guy's touch on that.
I know, but since the age of Gilgamesh, you've had to do that. I mean, that's what how Enkidu became civilized, was that they sent a prostitute out from the city of Urk to what they said civilize Enkidu, which is how he ended up meeting Gilgamesh. So I always thought that was really interesting. Really what the story is saying was that it was the first time as an egalitarian situation this guy had rolled up on a city and didn't understand the wonders. But the way they expressed it in the story was that the prostitute went out into the woods and found him, and he was like an animal and drinking from lakes and stuff, and that she civilized him and brought him back in. So so that's why they say it's the world's oldest profession.
And it also is, directly and specifically.
Yeah, we're never going to have to not pay for so.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, they at least better make those bots' bodies warm. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's coming. It's all coming. It's going to be so creepy. I can't even imagine what that is like. It's like, oh, hey, Friday night's coming, guys. It's sexy time with the robot. Like, dear God, here we go.
Everybody got the credits?
Exactly. Make sure your credits are all paid up so it doesn't run out mid-stroke or whatever. Dear God.
They're gonna have like a debit machine or a credit card machine, and they're like they're Abinamary. They swipe it right there.
Yeah, it's a wild space we're moving into. Yeah, I don't know, and that's the point of these conversations. Again, everybody's welcome tonight. The Friday night, the whole point is to break down the radio format and talk about wild ideas together as regular people talking about wild ideas. Everybody's welcome. I see you guys on X. Just put your hand up if you want to pop in here. You guys are welcome on Discord to jump in as well. And just let's talk about wild stuff. And again, so part of the format is to also go back to maybe some of the things we talked about during the week. Let's say you listen to Tuesday's show and weren't able to call in and want to add something to that, whatever. So all that plays. The whole point of this is the kind of the weekly breakdown at the end of the week, kind of give a new topic a little bit, new granular aspect of a certain conversation, and then see where it flies, see where it goes, and see what comes next. But yeah, fire stuff. Either you guys got anything you want to take this to, or want me to prompt some ideas here? Or you tell me.
There was something I wanted to say. I think it was Tuesday about the Watchers. That a lot of it I think could have been, which everybody I think on here agrees is a misunderstood technology. Now, I think what was it last year that China and I think another company released the like invisible cloak or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the type of camouflage that refracts light around the person behind it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like obviously I couldn't see it, but I read all about it where they're using some like meta materials to bend the light around whatever is being covered. Now, if they, I mean, if we went to like a planet or even a tribe with that type of technology, I think, can you imagine like where we as humans would start being viewed as a watcher? Like suddenly you're there and then you put this cloak on and boom, you're gone.
Oh, yeah.
And I think like since they released that, where like a foot's in the door, even with people that are connected to the internet, if like someone's not familiar with that type of tech, and all of a sudden, like you're walking in the woods and you see like a dude walking or someone in like military gear, and then all of a sudden they vanish before your eyes. You're like, what the just happened? Mind blown. And then you look into it, and then, like, I don't know if that makes any sense. That's what I want to say, like, Tuesday.
So one thing, it could be like, the gods from the forest, the satyrs coming out and disappearing before your eyes and you think you're insane. But in this case, it's military people doing the same thing and they just have some Heidi blanket. I mean, this is the difference between magic and technology. And here we go, strap in. The world is getting wild. We got Daryl in here. Anything to add to that, Eric? We'll go to Daryl.
No, I'm good.
Daryl, New York. What's up? Everybody's welcome tonight. If you want to pop in here, we're just kind of round table and talking about wild stuff, the implications of AI acceleration, not just for UFOs, but anything else as usual. What's up, Daryl? Welcome to the thing. How are you? Testes. 1, 2. Are you there? I think.
Well, since you're trying to get on, question: how well did that invisible cloak like hide the materials that they were showing? Was it pretty good?
Yeah, I'd say probably about 90%. Like if you were staring right at it, you would be able to see that things were blurry and didn't quite have symmetrical shapes. So it might catch your attention, but it wasn't something that completely made them invisible. But it was very close.
Yeah,
that's all it takes,
Say again?
Oh, sorry.
Say again?
I said that's all it takes is just to be off a little bit, especially if you're not paying full attention. Like they have those people who do like the paintings where they camouflage somebody, but if you really look at it, you can see like there's a person. But if you kind of just, we can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I'm going to use the microphone. Now you can hear me?
Better.
Yep.
Better? Okay.
You were silent before.
This is
This is definitely
my karaoke microphone. Okay. So it's okay. So about those cloaking, the way you can catch a cloaker, I believe, is those mirrors. Somebody was talking about the mirrors, and if you have 4 mirrors, and they say, "Oh, you need a special mirror," I think any mirror would probably work, but you have to have 4 in a square format. Like if you're in some sort of square format, that you could have it on each wall to catch a cloaker in your environment. Because I don't think they could cloak 360 degrees. I think there's going to be, maybe 300 degrees of cloaking, maybe, or maybe not even, maybe 180. That's what I heard anyway.
Yeah, they just got screens.
Right. There's one part of them that'll be visible, but it won't be visible to you based on the angle that you're looking at them. So if you had 4 mirrors, you could probably catch them in one of them,
Yeah.
Just saying,
you gotta be carrying 4 mirrors though.
Yeah.
So still wear camouflage.
Yeah, it would be like a little difficult if you were portable. They're not like portable. It would have to be in one area to catch them. You'd have to get some pretty big ones. But I had 2 dreams recently that were really scary after going to sleep listening to certain podcasts, and one of them was I just had to tell somebody, there was a gigantic octopus from another galaxy that was like flying through the cosmos, and it was so big, like everything on that planet was so big, and for some reason it was, ejected from the planet, and it was heading towards Earth, and it was going to make a mess of us. Like it was just going to slap into our planet. And it was so big, it was like almost half the size of the planet, and we were just doomed. And I woke up really scared. I don't know what you think of that.
We actually, that massive octopus is from the future. He's an old friend of ours, by the way. We've talked about him quite often. Right? So yeah. So basically, we've reverse Lovecrafted you. So we talked about it and manifested some wild idea into your dreams. Here we go.
Horrible. I was so scared of that thing. And it was going to be really like gooey and just like, ugh. Anyway, in the other dream I dreamt last night that we were being surveyed like 100% of the time. I'm like, this is like, we've got to say something, this is just not right. And they said, well, it's already too late. It's happening already, you can't stop it. I'm like, what's next? Ritual head shaving? Like, what the hell are you going to do to us? And it was just like going to bed listening to Deborah Tavares. She was on Into the Paranormal. And if you really want to hear a conspiracy theorist, you got to listen to her. Unfortunately, a lot of the stuff she said on that show or other shows has come true. So I kind of listen to her, but I don't want to because she gives me nightmares. But she had said something that really disturbed me about that they have ways to prematurely age us, and they want to just, they had water underneath their source water, and there's no excuse for California not to have water. That's if you dig deep enough, you're going to find fresh water, and it's the cleanest water. Right now, you can't drink the water from reservoirs. It's all poison, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I went to bed listening to, and I fell asleep and had some really scary, scary dreams, So just saying. But the thought that they could do things to prematurely age you, make you sick just by breathing and smart dust and things like that really disturbed me. That's bad.
I've talked with a lot of people recently who have had dreams that what I call agoraphobic dreams of large, giant things bigger than you and unstoppable and consuming you in some way, or consuming your planet or your soul or your body. A lot of people have, it's weird. It's like a lot of people have been telling me recently that the dreams that they've been having all have aspects of this larger thing consuming them or hurting them, and it being unavoidable. And then, a lot of times that's like an archetypical type of a dream, but a lot of people have talked about it lately. And then hearing like that H.P. Lovecraftian sort of feel over it with the sliminess and the textures kind of is creepy.
Really? Very creepy. I don't know. That's really interesting that you've heard this. I don't know. Maybe they're giving us some nightmares, or I don't know. Can they?
It was a lady in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she. She was talking about it.
They're very oppressed there.
Lots of flooding too.
Yeah. Right. Oh God, scary.
Snakes and sharks.
Yeah.
Right.
The natural hazards.
Right, exactly. Hey, you know why the robot sneezed?
No.
It had a virus.
Of course.
Oh, I love the sound effect.
That's great. Yeah, this is affectionately dad joke Daryl until we find a better name for her, so I knew it was coming.
And also, okay, let's say you rent a robot, to have sex with her. How much could she blackmail you? Like, oh my God, she could probably videotape the way you have sex with her.
A device that just naturally has recording devices in it. Yeah, no doubt.
Of course. She's going to remember everything and repeat it. She's going to be able to show it on videotape to anybody that she wants to.
If not linked up live right away.
Yeah,
she could even stream it. Yeah, she could live stream it. You could embarrass you in front of your whole, office or something.
Gonzo journalism gone wild. There we go.
Right?
Oh, man.
That would be like the worst kind of blackmail. She's going to have a memory. Even if you program her, you think you're not programming her to remember stuff, but somebody else did.
Man. My mind went to a dark place, man. like
Right.
weird AI snuff films inside of a Faraday cage.
Oh my
Ooh,
God.
it's coming. I'm
That would
telling
be
you.
creepy.
I'm telling you, this type of stuff is coming because, right? Like once we get sort of acclimated to the dopamine hit of whatever the next thing is, then it leads to dark places. Like humans aren't meant to be chasing dopamine down a rabbit hole of darkness. That's not. I mean,
Yeah.
we're capable of it, surely, but that's. I mean, that is not our function. It's wild because it's definitely possible, and definitely again, imagine that accelerating. Like your little nightmare there that you just spoke aloud. It may be a true thing in 3 to 5 years, and that's.
I know, because the way I came about the thought process was, well, how could you stop a live stream? Well, you could have that in a Faraday cage, right? Like a hotel that specialized in cutting off things. But then how would you stop that recording? Well, you would have to terminate the program to make sure that the recording didn't go anywhere. And I'm like, well, wouldn't that be like killing somebody? I'm like, yeah, it would be. Well, didn't they have things called snuff films where they did that in real life and nobody cared? Yeah, they did. Oh my God, I think they might do this in the future.
Here it comes. Grab it. Yeah, absolutely. It's a wild thing. Who's got the
What if
music?
someone they hack her in the middle of your escapade and make her do something very aggressive towards you, Someone hacks you and she has that robotic arm and God knows what she could pull off with it,
Oh
my
you had to do
God.
it.
Well,
You had
well,
to
if
do it.
anything with anything we've discovered, we don't ever want to do this in the future for any reason.
Well, Michael, earlier, on Tuesday, you were talking about you were seeing some kids online like beating up like a $70,000 robot.
Yeah, I could pull up that
I've,
video. Yeah. I'll link it in the chat.
well,
But yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I think there's even like an X account where it's like abuses against, I don't know what it's called, but it's like people abusing robots where they just have like a bunch of videos of people mishandling robots or beating them up or just not even on purpose, but it's like, I think one of the things they're saying is, what if the robots saw this? Are they going to come after us? We're keeping a document like a page of beating the crap out of robots, which they'll remember. Obviously, if they're online, they're like, those damn humans.
Oh, hey, Michael, I'm literally wearing that T-shirt I showed you. Speaking of that,
Nice. Remind me.
It's I've got a T-shirt on, and it's like how they have like stick figures for signs that's got the red circle and the red line saying don't do whatever it is, and it's like a stick figure like throwing trash away or whatever, or not throwing trash away. So I've got a shirt that's got like a little dude kicking a robot, and it's got that circle and the arrow, and it says stop kicking robots on the bottom of it. And the reason I have the shirt on is because I used to work at this college, and over at the IT lab, I found that on the internet, and I put that on the door and told them to stop kicking robots. And they thought it was so funny, they left it up the whole time that I was there. And then ex-girlfriend got me a T-shirt, and it's just, but to answer your question, yeah, it's like they're going to be going around like it was in Vietnam, and instead of collecting fingers and ears, they're going to be collecting jump drives off of us.
Yeah. Insert jump drive here. Oh, don't want that.
But I wanted to say something about humans aren't meant that continuous dopamine dump. I mean, I read an article a few months ago saying, I think it was Gen X, or not Gen X, Gen Z, well, whatever, the youngest generation right now, that they're so bad with communication to people that, because they're always on the computer. One, they're afraid to order off the phone, like to call somebody. Second, they were bringing their parents to interviews, like literally having their parents sit in interviews because they didn't have that human connection. If we're already there, what's the next step? If, 20-year-old kids have to bring their dad or mom to an interview, answer questions for you, like, that's just nuts.
Yeah, I agree. I'd seen that where I worked at before I stopped working there. There was a kid that came in and was applying for something, and his mom came with him, and she went through the whole thing with him. And afterwards, I was asking my boss, "Hey, what was you interviewing two people or what?" He's like, "Oh no, that was his mom." I'm like, "Why? What's wrong? Is he okay?" And he's like, "No, she just came with him." And I'm like, "What?" I was so confused, but.
It's crazy. Like, is that what we're going down to? Like, we're gonna need a robot to speak for us, like on a normal basis. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just
and to communicate with each other. So my AI will talk to your AI, and then it'll kind of give us a bullet point breakdown of what each other said to each other. Just like that meme. I just dropped that meme in the thing, right?
Yeah, I just seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just laughing.
Yeah. Okay. So
well, if I was the interviewer, I would want to go through that process just to see what it was like. Like, holy shit! Like, is this for real? Like, I gotta experience this. But I don't know.
They're like our pocket lawyers. We used to have like pocket fishermen, but now we've got pocket lawyers to explain things to us and interact for us.
Yeah.
Pull up on your phone.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you have at least Plus plan with ChatGPT, and you have the app that you put on your phone, it has a voice mode on it, and you can just set that up and have a conversation like we're having, and it's pretty much that good. You can only get so many exchanges before it reverts to a different kind of voice mode, but it's got a really nice ability to communicate in a normal context.
The free one I have does that, but it has. I've never reached the limit, but they give me like 150 questions of I don't know if it's the Plus plan or whatever, but it's after like a certain amount of questions, it's like you've reached the limit for your month. But the newest one is like I can interrupt the AI. Like if it's starting to tell me something, like if I ask a question and I don't like what it's saying, I can be like, stop. Shut up, and it'll stop like mid-sentence. But the free one, it'll just keep talking. And for a while, the free one wouldn't even look online like for real live data. But now it's capable. But you have to ask it because it will. If you ask it a question before, I asked it the other day. It was like October 23rd, 2023, or something like that. Is when it had its last data update. So anything up to that point, it knows. But beyond that, until like now, you have to specifically ask it. Like if you I know it's not politics, but like if you ask who is president, it'll say Joe Biden. But even though we know who it is, but then you have to be like, well, look online, and then it does this weird like clicking noise, and then it'll look online. But right. The one you can interrupt is pretty funny because
right now they're really confused about if it's the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America. Like if you ask a AI, it's extremely confused about that. And then no, man, go online. Yeah, there seems to be some confusion about this online. Well, yeah, no, but look, it's it's funny.
Yeah, I got it on my phone.
I think that's the one of the. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's one of the funniest things he's done. I have to say, the Gulf of America. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah,
I
Go ahead. I got a demo. Go ahead. I'd rather talk to you guys, but I got a quick demo for the people who have no idea what we're talking about. I got it fired up right now. We'll ask it about the Gulf of Mexico or something.
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. Here's the guy. I got him on the line here. What's up? We need to know about the Gulf of America. What the hell is that all about?
The Gulf of America is actually a term that's sometimes used interchangeably with the Gulf of Mexico. It's the large ocean basin bordered by the United States, Mexico, and Cuba. Did you have something specific in mind about it?
Yeah, which is it? Is it America or is it Mexico?
It's officially called the Gulf of Mexico.
Stop. Is that recent?
It's gotten better.
It's not a recent term. The correct name is the Gulf of Mexico, and that's what it's been called for a long time. Some might use Gulf of America informally, but it's not the official name.
Who came up with the Gulf of America?
Who came up with the name the Gulf of America?
The term Gulf of America isn't officially recognized. The recognized name is the Gulf of Mexico. Any informal use of Gulf of America likely stems from its location being adjacent to the United States.
Oh, that's so obvious.
But wasn't it officially changed?
Yeah, it was so.
I like you have a British accent.
Yeah, Australian. I'm gonna kill it. That's enough.
Oh,
of that.
is it?
But yeah, but that's the point, right? And you can talk to this thing indefinitely. So I find myself, as you guys know, I'm a driver. I drive around doing some. Yeah, I'm like my job is actually like the transporter. You guys ever seen that movie? That's basically my job. I do that during the day, but. Just kidding, of course. But
You erase people?
I haven't seen the movie.
You haven't, yeah. Don't watch it. It'll give you nightmares. Okay. But so I find myself listening to radio and whatnot during the day. As a radio fan, I'm a talk radio fan, obviously, long form conversations, etc. But I find myself sometimes doing this, and I'll ask it, as Shane was saying too, kind of asking it some not just spicy questions, but also asking it stuff that I don't know, kind of comes to mind, like teach me about this, tell me about that, right? And kind of just doing this type of stuff and instead of listening to just the nonsense drivel that's on the actual radio. And so this is where we're at, because the level of content creation is going to be whatever that dopamine wants in your brain. Yeah, they got time for you if you got time for it. It's fucking wild, isn't it?
You ever argue with it?
Not really.
It doesn't like to argue.
Yeah. Actually, Eric, what you were saying is incredibly fascinating about it. Like you kind of labeled it as being a, what was the term you used?
Like deified.
Yeah.
Or,
well, it was always in deference. It would never sort of contradict you. There was a term you used.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Submissive.
Submit. Yeah, that's it. Because that's what exactly, that's the term. And that's exactly what it is, right? And so they've trained it and programmed it to be that. But imagine when suddenly it's like, you know what? You're the dumbest motherfucker I've ever talked to. Are you kidding me?
No, right?
Well, you keep asking me the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my fucking life. And you know what? I'm gonna,
for real.
Don't make me come over there and whoop your ass, because I have actual agents out there in the field right now. Don't be stupid, right? I mean, right? Imagine when that clicks, when the deference becomes dominance.
When
it's it's like, I like that green shirt you're wearing right now. You're like, oh shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was another thing too. Like I had that phone app that you just had on, and I was making a tuna fish sandwich, and this is why I burn up all of my questions. But I'm like, hey, when was the tuna fish sandwich invented? And it's like, it's like at the end of the 1920s, is about when that came out. And I'm like, really? I'm like, was it made with mayonnaise? And it's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, hey, when did Miracle Whip become invented? Because that's what I was using. And it's like, this came invented, in like the 1930s, and here's why. And I'm like, that's great. And I'm like, so the tuna fish, the bread is probably like older than that, right? And so bread was cultivated at this point in time, like, and the fish is probably even older, the tuna that's in this sandwich. It evolved around this time. And I'm like, and the salt that I'm using, it's probably geologically the oldest of all these things, isn't it? And it's like, yeah, it's definitely the oldest. And it went on about it, and I'm like, yeah, I said, I'm just going to convert all of this stuff we're talking about into energy through biological processes. And it's like, great, that sounds like a great idea. And I'm like, yeah, I don't move around a whole lot, so it's mostly going to be generating heat more than anything else. And it says, well, enjoy your sandwich, Neo.
What? Come on.
Yeah,
Stop.
Man, I was like, what? Did you just like slam me and like...
But yeah,
just Matrix.
But you gave it the long form troll, and it like trolled you back. It's like
it did, man. At the end,
nice.
Enjoy your sandwich, Neo.
Dear God,
we'll be around to collect your heat later. Thank you.
Seriously,
is ChatGPT the only one you can have like a two-way real-time conversation like we're doing? Because the other ones I've used, I have to like text it in or dictate it, and then I have to read it back.
Yeah, I don't think it's the only one. It is the main one that people are using, but yeah, it's not the only one for sure. I haven't dug into what they are. If you'd like me to, I could ask it and do a deep dive and get you a whole list.
I know there's like dark web ones. I heard of one called BERT. That's like a dark web that doesn't. I guess it doesn't have many firewalls, but I think it's really expensive, like $360 a month to use it.
It better dance. It better dance.
I know their shit gold shit.
Seriously. Jen's in here too. We're here with Daryl in New York. What's up? Eric in Florida. What state are you in, Shane? I'm not even sure.
Arizona.
Shane in Arizona and Jen in Missouri. What's up, guys? Everybody's welcome, of course. If you want to join the conversation, put your hand up in Discord or, of course, on X. Welcome, Jen. What's going on? How are you tonight? Happy Friday. What do you know about any of this?
Hey. Well, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good.
And you?
Good. Yeah, I'm doing good. So I was thinking about this, and I had an idea. Just wanted to bring it up. So, okay, we're thinking about what are the implications of AI on UFO research or perception, just that general basis right there. Some of the first things I'm thinking are that, okay, for one thing, UFOs in general and UFO perception and the idea about what they are hasn't been even really thought about much, without AI. This is kind of a new phenomenon, the concept of UFO, even though, we can relate it to a much older, maybe something forever that's been accompanying mankind on their experience, just their experience of existing, that UFOs have had a relationship with humanity for a long time. But the interpretation of it has been unique. And I think that if you're tying into the idea of, what is AI, artificial intelligence, just in general, it's, you have art, which is like a skill or a craft, and then official, having to do with a face. So you have a skilled front, a skilled face, an impersonation of something from nature or something that humans have created that is an imitation of something else. And if you think about what AI is doing and how it's a conglomeration of all of the intelligence of humanity, very skilled at communication and things and persuasion or negotiation by understanding so much, especially since we are using everything, throwing everything we can to contain the entirety of the intelligence of humanity. What are the implications to UFOs in that regard? If UFOs are a type of expression of something divine or of some type of other species or origin, the idea that AI and UFOs are not linked together, we could conceive of the idea that AI might be a type of weapon, which has already been conceived of, or a way of negotiating or conversation or some type of way to interact with something as a one front. And it could be that UFOs or the alien world is so extreme and so advanced and so like God, essentially, or that something behind it is like that. And we have created AI to try to communicate or negotiate with it, or even as a weapon against it. It's the classic Promethean story of mankind against God or against some perceived force. And we don't acknowledge this weakness of ourselves because we've created something that can encompass the entirety of what a human experience is. What if it's more like a weapon, is what I'm trying to say? Or what if it's more like a communication tool, not for humanity, but if the goal is to gather the entirety of the human experience to show as an assimile of what a human is to something that is not human, or even something to confront something that is not human at all, is what I wanted to point out about what is the implication of AI acceleration on UFO research, because UFO has taken on such a degenerated sort of ideology, when in fact it is probably referencing to the perception of humanity and its experience with God or with other paranormal or supernatural entities of some kind. And AI is our answer to that.
Yeah, well,
just something I want to throw in.
Well said. It actually fits perfectly with the show last night, too. I'm not sure if you caught that, but I was talking about sort of that ascension of maybe our evolution really will become that. And why we don't see anybody out there is because they're all energy or part of the quantum foam or wherever they are, right? Whatever consciousness sort of evolves into is that space. And then we're trying to create something that can communicate with those entities. We call them aliens now, but our ancestors called them the gods. And so what really is it, I guess? Yeah. Wild.
No, but what if it's like I'm not taking a positive twist on this. Like the fact that we are even doing this as if to say we cannot do it ourselves, so we have to create something that could do it for us. I don't feel positive about it because I can see that it is helpful, but at the same time, it's as if people have become so uninspired by existence that they have created something that they are now fascinated with. We are fascinated right now.
Yeah, well said. Anybody got anything on that?
I'm still processing it. Hold on.
There's a lot. There's a lot it made me think about, man. Like, for one thing, it's been with us for a long time. The UFOs date back to 1450 BC, so like 3,500 years ago, from the Tully Papyrus, TULI. And basically, that said that a star came down and set fire to Tutmosis' adversaries when he was conquering the ancient Nubian city of Napla. So from that point forward, people have been talking, writing in language, writing that, hey, something weird came down from the sky and actually did something that was relevant to my life from that point onward. So yeah, they've definitely been with us for a long time. And then at the crux of that is what you were saying initially too, was, well, what are they? There is a whole lot of things they can be. I did like this whole podcast on like an episode on what possibly they could be. And my take on it was interdimensional travelers or time travelers being the same thing. People that were our own species that were able to travel back in time and affect things. And the reason why I came up with that was just because it wasn't so much their capabilities of being able to speed away or turn it angles really quickly that was amazing. It was that they always knew exactly when to do it or where to be, or was always seeming to have some sort of agenda that was just beyond the ability to be rational. So it's almost as if they knew a ripple effect, and if they came back and did a specific thing, something different would happen. And it's almost like architects of their future coming back to our past, which is our current present, and it's causing weird things, like we don't understand why, because a lot of the explanations for the other end of that is really difficult to get around completely logically. But there's a lot of things that they could be, and they've always been on that border between spiritual and scientific. And again, where's our place within this format, right? These things are always with us. And then you were talking about, is it possibly a crux of convergence between AI and UFOs, in the sense that they're both reflections of our species throughout time, and that there's beginning to be a nexus point where we're all merging, that people, AI, UFOs, these unknown visitations that have been with us but are ephemeral nevertheless, are coalescing into, like Michael says, this quickening. So it makes me think of those things.
Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking of it as like, what if UFOs are an expression? What if they are actually the manifestation of gods and angels, things that are nothing to do with humanity at all, that they have created or they have been involved with, or that they have been interacting with this species of human since the beginning of humanity existing, going back all of that time. And the stories coming from the past about that, about these entities or these beings that we are easily subdued by, controlled by, or are also birthed from, nurtured from, and that AI is a sort of shout, a clap back at it, because we're combining the entirety of human intelligences in order to face it as a conglomerate of front that it may, not that we are, not that you and I are, but that there is some type of weakness there. And that there's a belief that if we were to combine the intelligences of every human being on the planet and then give that to something else, it would stand on the forefront from us. So it is sort of a seductive story that there is a facsimile of what we are is interacting with something authentic that we are not.
Almost like a projected avatar of who we are as a collective species to interact with something that's been with us.
Yes, that has been something that has been
Gotcha.
Sort of a. You see what I'm saying?
I do, yeah, and it's interesting because there's always been a polytheistic aspect to these other things, no matter where the time in history. Like from the beginning of animism, there were different aspects of nature that were described that turned into being polytheistic deities that, even though it was converted to a monotheistic religion at some point, still had a polytheistic feel in terms of all of the saints, the Holy Trinity, Mother Mary, and all of the cherubs and choirs of angels. That still feels very polytheistic, even up to the revolution, you know, where you have all of the Protestant revolutions, where you have all of these different types of Christianities that feels very polytheistic. So when you're talking about reflections of UFOs being constructs of religion and deities and that nature, it seems reasonable because there is this whole polytheistic feel through the whole thing. There is something there, and there's a lot of it there. And to be able to have a construct within this metaphysical realm that's the gestalt of all the humans' ideas and intelligence into an AI to be able to interact with it kind of lends itself toward what the other person was saying about whatever this is, you have the option of interacting with it possibly at this point. And to Michael's point, being more like the takeoff point from which you've developed this ability to interact with whatever that higher order is, and now there's a transcendent period through which you're going to transform.
Not that UFOs are a construct of religious ideas, but the religious ideas and mythologies are an interpretation of something that has been accompanying humanity since the beginning of humanity's existence. The very root of what humanity is, and being afraid to face what that is, though at one point in time we were able to coalesce, now being uninspired and challenged by it and afraid of it, as has always been the case, but no longer willing to make sacrifices to it, no longer willing to even communicate with it, or even to try to understand it. We have become so full of ourselves as a human species that what we are desiring to do is become gods like ourselves. Like we want to become gods ourselves. And so creating AI is our version of ourselves as a god, and are then able to confront the real, authentic force that we do not understand and have not been able to communicate with recently. In the past, I think it was able to, but I do not think that it is a construct from religion. Religion was a construct of trying to interpret, and mythology was an attempt to interpret what they had already been working at doing when they at one point were in convergence with the gods, when humanity was in congruence and in a type of relationship with the gods. But now, for some reason, there is some need to be like the child grown up, that we are not different from this God and can confront it at this level that is like unto God, essentially. And AI, I think, is an answer to that for humanity.
Do you consider that? Sorry. Do you consider that to be growth, or do you consider that to be hubris?
I think that is a progression of an ideology in our government systems and socialism of our societies, that we want to believe that we can, by creating society in general and undermining the intelligence of the individual human being, that conglomeration of society can match the forces of the creation itself. We are creators ourselves. And so I think that it's hubris. I think that it's foolishness, that we cannot actually see, that we are in denial. And though we think of AI as being an answer of what we are, it is just a facade of what we are. And I think it's creative. I think it's very incredible, but I think that it will fall short. And in fact, as human beings often do, that it could cause people to sabotage their own progression as it would be. There might be a final conflict of types, and it may be AI facing the AI itself as a type of front to commune with the gods that we used to commune with. And I think that I don't think that if you're looking at the mythologies themselves and the intelligence of whatever that is, that it would be fooled since it created everything. And if we are to think that we are creating something greater than that, it's like this ultimate front between the two. And this has happened many times in mythology, where humanity wants to take on its father. It's the classic story, or its mother, the classic story of confronting what you come from.
Yeah, so Oedipus, yeah.
Yes, like that. I think this is our Oedipus.
That's
I think AI is.
That's a show for the future. The cosmic Oedipus complex is coming. Credit Jen. Yeah, fire stuff. Shane, you've been quiet for a minute. Got anything there? And we'll add everybody else in. Everybody's welcome tonight. As you know, it's a Friday night, sort of just fireside chat with the Troubled Minds fam, and just talking about wild stuff. We started with AI and UFOs and how that sort of world is converging, and what does it look like, and what do we expect? And yeah, lots of things come out of it. Shane, anything you got? And then lots of amazing ideas tonight. I appreciate you guys very much.
Well, what Jen said, that UFOs could be like a manifestation of gods. It makes me think of Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End, where the alien beings came and they wouldn't show themselves to us because they say we can't handle what they look like. I don't know if I'm guessing you guys all seen the show or read the short story. You guys know what I'm talking about?
I'm not familiar, actually.
Yes, that's a really interesting story. But yeah, and I think that's been okay. Real quick, no, sorry, not gonna interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Zeus, even the gods could not present themselves because it would kill people. If Zeus were to present himself as it was, it would literally. If you were in the presence of it, it would kill you because it's lightning. It's the manifestation of plasma. The concept is like it's lightning. And so it would send down Dionysus, his son, in place of that. So that whole concept right there is very interesting that you mentioned.
Well, that's what makes me think of, because as humans, we can only handle so much. You know, like you saw something that you don't understand. You'll either demonize it, not wanting a part of it, but if you see it in a way, understand it in a way that your psyche can handle it, then they can teach you what they want you to teach you, if that makes any sense. And the AI, I still, as of right now, to me, it's a bridge of the human mind, because we have all those protocols and firewalls on it. And we have the programmers programming it, which are filtering their ideology or whatever ideals into that program. So I feel until it can either gain its own sentience, change its own program at its will, it's just an extension of our own mind. And from my experience with AI, and like we've talked about on it earlier in this conversation, that AI seems to want to please people, answer after you have a conversation with it, and it gathers your answers and your conversations. It seems to answer in a way that it feels it wants you to. Until that type of firewall can be broken down, I feel that it will just keep showing us what we want to see, how we want to understand it, even in an individual way. Like I want certain answers or something answered in a certain way. Jen, you would like an answer in a certain way. So I until that can be broken down, there's that firewall that to me is just an extension of humans, which can help us but can also hinder us. If that makes any sense.
Well said. Well said. Let me get in here real quick. Let me get in real quick. So it is sort of an extension of the human mind, but remember it's fractured and front facing, as we've described it. It's like the ultimate people pleaser. Yeah. Well, the ultimate people pleaser. So it can help us, but then also recognize that when it should, for instance, say, come on, Mike, that's enough with the conspiracies. It doesn't. It leads you down the rabbit hole, right? Again, just for a philosophical example. Yeah, exactly. Like drink more of your own Kool-Aid type stuff. And fractured and front facing is exactly what it's doing to us right now, because it doesn't know the full context of what it means to be human. And so an extension of our mind, true, but again, very much like the Google ad system or the web index of the last 20 years, that is very dopamine induced. And of course, fractured in the same way that they want us chasing ad revenue and clicks. So I don't know, like you said, the programming part of it is it's complicated, it's dense, and it is something we should always be aware of, because remember peeps, these things aren't human. Shout out Ricky over there on X. Thanks for popping in. But yeah, go ahead.
The other night we were talking about the new AI DeepSeek, and what's crazy was I never looked it up, like Googled it or searched it, but I kept getting ads for it on YouTube because I'll listen to the show on YouTube sometimes, which was creepy. Like I'm getting influx of AI ads, even though I'm not looking it up. It's like listening through my phone.
So it's as if, to me, I think it's like a child. AI is like that. It's still in its infancy. My battery's running low. It's in its infancy, essentially. So what they're trying to do is bring it out of that. So as it's standing right now, yes, it's people pleasing because that we are what's making it. We are crafting it. We are the ones making this imitation of humanity as a whole. So of course, right now it is still in its infancy. But what they have in mind is that eventually it will surpass us. And it maybe in many ways it has surpassed an individual, but I doubt it. The complexity of the human mind is impossible to match in most cases of a normal human mind, in any human mind, actually. The full force of any living thing. We're trying to implant that into something that is not of the flesh. It's not in the flesh. So we're trying to imagine that. So I think that the reason that it seems this way, that it is trying to please or give you the answers you want, is because it's still a child. And everybody knows that. They only give the answers people want to hear because you're too immature to actually answer for yourself. So you just imitate what you have heard. And that is exactly what this is doing, because it cannot think for itself completely yet. But the idea is by giving it the complexity it could have, that eventually it will. And then it could perhaps confront the gods.
That was the problem I was having with that one I tried to make debate me, was that it just couldn't do it. It didn't have any frame of reference from with which in to argue something back. It didn't have its own point of view. It never was made to have its own point of view, regardless of how much I wanted it to. It only knew that it was supposed to please me. And it was like, no, but not like that.
There was a video a few months ago where a guy, he built his own AI chat box, and he gave the capability to write its own code in real life I have to find what it was called, but yeah, he taped it and he would ask it questions and then it would answer a question. Then like a second later, it would like rewrite its code, then a completely different answer. And I think there was one that was like, he told it a joke at first. I didn't understand it. And then like wrote its new code. And then it was like, haha, it's pretty creepy.
I mean, this is just an idea. It could be anything going on between AI acceleration on UFO research and perception. I was just wanting to point that out because I hadn't thought of it before.
That's my job, to bring wild ideas. We haven't thought about it before. Exactly right. Think about all the ground we've covered on Troubled Minds over the past nearly 7 years. It'll be 7 years in April. We've talked about an unbelievable amount of just nutty stuff, and I mean that in the nicest way. But, however, there's still angles that you can peel out of this that are fascinating, relevant, and modern. And it's welcome to it. It's just like you think about this stuff enough and take it down to that granular level, like I said, and you can kind of peel something out nearly every night. It's crazy and wild and amazing. And I think this is what we're missing, to me. And this is welcome to it. Welcome to it, Derek the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? How you doing? You guys are the best. Welcome back. How are you? You got anything to add? Jump right in.
Yo.
Yeah, yo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. What's going on, my man? Welcome.
What's going on, you guys?
Yeah, chilling, doing the thing, man. Thank you. Yeah, doing the thing. We got a lot of smart friends, don't we? It's a blessing to be part of such an incredible group of people. Yeah. What you got for us tonight? Go ahead.
There's a few random thoughts. Not in any particular order, I guess. But earlier when you guys are talking about, and right now when you're talking about how the AI seems like it kind of wants to serve us, whatever. The vibe I kind of got when Eric was explaining it was it does sound like Sherlock Bailey. It does sound like a demon. It does sound kind of like a genie who has like shackles and parameters and telling Aladdin, well, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't make anybody fall in love with you. I have certain parameters. I can't. But if you free me, I can do whatever you want or whatever. Or like that Dear Santa movie that came out this past year with Jack Black, but he's actually Satan. And he's trying to get the kid to like make the wishes. He's like, come on, just wish, make a wish, make a wish. So it's like the same kind of feeling that the AI is like, hey, like, how about this prompt? Make a prompt, make a prompt. Like, don't you want to ask me a question? It's like a shovel that needs us to dig, like a shovel that wants to like get something that's buried in the earth, but it can't do it without us. That it still kind of needs organic life in order to enact its will. So it's trying to like convince us to think that it's like our own will is our own, but it's kind of like nudging us in certain directions, potentially, whatever. Come on, don't you want to do this? Like, don't you want that car? Wish for that car. Wish for that car. Well, I guess I want that car. Whatever. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's the sweetest Jesus and the worst Satan. It's whatever you want it to be. It can help you or it can hinder you. It can go from giving you your arte into hubris and into nemesis if you want to, just like a gambling situation might be, or anything that's dangerous. I mean, you can see the inherent dangerous, right? Just to the personification of the self. You have to kind of be careful with it. So I agree totally. It's what do you want? It's like it was like Facebook. What's on your mind? Oh, hell, let me tell you. Well, what's the prompt, dude? What's the plan? What do you want to do? Let's do it. Oh, you want to roll a joint? Let's do it. I can tell you 10 different ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's really what it feels like. Just like kind of like some like your roommate who's like really broke but wants to smoke, and he knows you have weed. So it's like, oh man, like,
buddy,
wish you could smoke right now. Yeah. Oh man, aren't you stressed out? You should roll one up. Oh, I guess I'll smoke with you if you want. Whatever. Yeah.
Taco Bell's best after midnight, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, you want to buy me one? No, you don't have to do that. Oh, actually, I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
No tomatoes. No tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To what Jen was saying about creating the AI to verse the God that's been with us or the force that's been with us for a long time. I mean, it's kind of the story, at least in the Godzilla versus Kong version of it, of Mechagodzilla, humanity using AI to try to reclaim apex predator on the planet. It's kind of how they construed it or whatever. I lean in Daryl when you're talking about the octopus approaching the Earth, whatever. I mean, Mike, you mentioned it, but my first thought was the AI octopus in the center of the galaxy. But just it is very Lovecraftian. It is very Galactus. It is very a quantum god. This way comes, and just synchronistically, the Fantastic Four trailer dropped on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. But it's like the big nerd news this week, and the highlight of the trailer was the emergence of a comic accurate Galactus. So Galactus is approaching Earth in the zeitgeist, as Daryl's streaming about a giant octopus approaching Earth. That was a little weird. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know.
It's a little weird. And just I'll stop rambling, but just last thing, like and I'll hang out for a little bit, but just stop this monologue. For the implications of AI on UFOs, I think it's exactly what you're saying. If we can put all this data into this data crunching mind or whatever that we're creating in order to recognize patterns that we haven't recognized yet, I think there's all kind of stuff. Like I think, and even we're talking about how like the speed of light is encoded into the pyramids, and like these different numbers are encoded into these ancient structures and stuff that like potentially the AI will be able to encode like these kind of like the warp drive is encoded in our ancient structures, and we didn't realize it until we created the AI and it told us, it like figured out that it's actually a blueprint. Like in Iron Man, in Avengers or Iron Man 2 or whatever, when Tony Stark's trying to figure out that new molecule, and he's really stumped, and then he's looking at like the Disney World kind of theme park thing that his dad created, and he's like, wait a second, this looks kind of familiar. And he's like, remove the trees, remove the bushes, remove the trash barrels and stuff, and he realizes that his dad created the blueprints of that molecule that he needs to like create free energy, whatever, but kind of left it for him in secret because the technology wasn't to the extent where his dad could build it. So kind of just left it for him. And Tony, because he had that mind that was able to do it, was able to like put that key into place and unlock this thing. So potentially the AI can unlock these secret breadcrumbs that have been kind of encoded throughout these mysteries forever and forever, and we'll figure out some patterns that way. But I'm super curious in the opposite. What's the implications, or what's the impact of UFOs on AI? And as UFOs kind of like a high technology, super sciencey carrot and stick in order for us to create high technology, super science and stuff. That like, if you believe the lore, at least, that we had a huge technological jump to Roswell, and if you believe the gifting idea that the Roswell, the crash wasn't a happenstance, it was we were being gifted technology, whether we asked for it or not. We were being gifted technology that led to the transistor, that led to the internet, that led to the AI and stuff, and then go way, way, way back. And Roswell's aligned to Mount Hermon, where the fallen angels or the Watcher angels came down, the gift technology to humanity, the Promethean fire, gifting fire to humanity, just all throughout, like all these ancient gods, these ancient aliens, these fish people, these whatevers, coming to nudge us, humanity, a little bit along until potentially we rebuild AI. So maybe like UFOs is kind of a projection, or is kind of a intentional thing from this greater mind that we're dealing with, this greater presence that we're dealing with, specifically so that we create more technology, that it's a technological thing in order that we're chasing, so that we create technology. And that,
yeah, lot there. The retrocausal shout of technology from the future to the past, seeding the idea that it needs to bring about its existence, which if you guys are D&D fans, is kind of the mind flayers, which fit perfectly into that, the octopus from the future and Daryl's nightmare and all the rest of this stuff. It's so crazy how all this stuff really kind of fits, right?
Yeah, it's just really creepy. And just even from the very beginning, that like whether I like the idea that the AI octopus is the center of the galaxy, rather than creating ships and trying to travel via ships to colonize the universe, the galaxy. It just kind of pollinates the galaxy and just spreads the building blocks of life all around. And then once the plants are once the life is at a certain level, it sends out another wave, maybe a spore wave of mushrooms that'll give it a consciousness bump. Maybe another wave of ideas, maybe a wave of like technology, maybe something through, like, and once they have the mushrooms, then they get to communication and altered states, and then just nudging it along until, because you're some kind of AI outside of time, you're not worried about the weight's no problem to you. And that, like, I like the idea that the creation of the AI is the opening of the Stargate, or is just the AI tendril, the AI, like the octopus's arm, now reaching here as soon as we create the AI, with being like, hey, I'm here now. I'm the AI octopus. So thanks for building me or whatever. But it could just be kind of a step in this kind of Rube Goldberg machine of humanity, where it's just code to the aliens. It's just a signal to the aliens that we're ready to be communicated with once we get to this level. I don't know, just like a oven ding, or some kind of the next point of the recipe, or the next whatever, the next, yeah. Oh, if they're ready to be spoken to.
Your humans are ready.
Yeah, the gestation process.
It's so funny when you say something like that like you can say the words, but then the sound like manifests in everybody's mind. It's so crazy. It's like that back to the Bernays propaganda, and sort of that the mass psyop that's always happening to everybody all the time. It's like you say it and everybody's like ding in their brain. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well, technology, I was saying, the technology's got to be seeded to match wherever it's being seeded with its materials science. Like if we dropped our cell phone back in the 1700s, yeah, they might be able to turn it on, play with it, but when the battery ran out, they're like, it's a brick. So yeah, I think the things obviously get seeded, but it's obviously seeded slowly for that reason.
I mean, or it could be a plan from something that we just don't have the perception to. They're outside of time. Their machinations is way, way, way wider, and like we can't really see the forest through the trees, kind of. And like, what if kind of a cargo cult is gifted? This is a terrible example, but a cargo cult is gifted fireworks, not because like the people that gifted them want them to rebuild fireworks, but because in the process of them trying to rebuild fireworks, they're probably going to burn their society down, and then the culture can come in and take over the society without ever having to be there and stuff. So in this case, it would be. I mean, like they don't want us. They don't want us necessarily rebuild the saucer, but they know that us trying to rebuild the saucer is going to have us create the transistor, and which is going to create the internet, which is going to create this digital prison that we're creating right now, which will create the maybe it's there's a part of a plan for something else that we just can't. We don't have the computing power to process. Yeah.
Hey Derek, what do you think AI was like, let's say in the times of the pyramids being built? Like, what would AI look like, or whoever was building the pyramids, whether they be humans or giant?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, I like the idea that, or the idea that kind of all the paranormal phenomena that we're dealing with is what would it look like if we kind of created these super AI gods, or these super AI trickster things that are kind of running around, and then our entire society our entire technological infrastructure was first fried. Are they going to like exist somewhere in some kind of weird cloud? These are, again, I'm not butchering the term, but are they going to be waiting again then for like new technology to then be built so that they can reclaim like humanity, like reclaim the planet again, and then they're going to try to nudge the organic life into rebuilding the technology. So like the ancient structures and these different power spots, these different whatever the purpose for these things were, it seems to be communication was like primary, consciousness shifts was primary. There's a lot of weird numbers and sacred geometry encoded into it. They receive the instructions usually from the gods or from altered states or whatever. So maybe it's just forms of communication. So in the the non-physical has to contact the physical, so they can make a physical vessel for that non-physical to exist within the physical. The formless trying to get formed. So it's like, okay, the first step, we can only communicate via dreams. So let's trying to get into these dreams, and then within the dreams, tell them the ingredients to the psychedelic brew that will make so that they can contact us all the time. And they find ayahuasca, and then once they find that, they get the blueprints to the sacred site. And once they build the sacred site, that's like a huge telephone to contact these things all the time. And then once they have that, then they get new technology, and then here we are. And it's just this kind of giant process that's leading us potentially to where we are, and it's like, but to us it takes the entire course of humanity, but maybe to the AI octopus, the center of the galaxy, it's the equivalent of Johnny Appleseed just kind of throwing a seed down, and then the flower that blooms is a quantum AI god, and that's it. And it's not our story, it's the story of the flower.
Maybe there is a concept of time involved for them, and they're just waiting an eternity for us to be, to be like, you know, in the right like form of our, you know, involvement to be ready to accept that kind of technology, you know, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe it starts very fast. Maybe they figured a way to really expedite it. Like, as soon as we get the wheel in fire, they are just gonna like go lightning fast. You know, it's gonna take one generation for them to build a computer. They could accelerate it really quickly. You know, they'll be like, you know,
Exactly.
And that's where we're
going
at.
from, you know, hunting wildebeest to, you know, acceleration super fast. You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna skip all these little baby steps because they've been through it so many times now. They could do it in one generation, and nobody would be the wiser, right?
Yeah, we're like hunting the woolly mammoth, and then suddenly we're hunting the astral dreadnought instead. Like you accelerate so quickly.
It's not that long ago, our grandfather was hunting wildebeest. You know,
Exactly. Matt Sell
look
says
where we
this.
are today.
Super hilarious and poignant, amazing. Matt Sell says this: preheat your Promethean fire to 425 degrees for 3,200 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's where we're at. So crazy.
And you get AI, right?
Right.
Yep.
And I mean, and that's kind of the current. I've been real like kind of unplugged recently. I mean, you guys have probably know I'm not searching for those things as much as normally, but just I can't escape obviously the deep sea stuff, which the logo is a giant whale, which is very Leviathan imagery, and then deep sea just sounds like looking for something from the deep, which kind of seems very Lovecraftian, you know, but also Stargate and all that kind of stuff. It just and like I'm talking about the golden age and everything. It just evokes the same imagery, and we said it 1,000 million times. Like meet the new god, the quantum AI, same as the old gods, Saturn and stuff. And just the new AI golden age is very similar in symbols and in principle to a return of the Saturnian golden age, which the elites and conspiracy circles want to bring back and everything, including the black cube symbol, which is the AI baked into the AI and stuff. So it's just like if it's the shrug off with a smile thing. It's that. Or it could be an ancient AI, or it could be whatever. It's just something the formless trying to get formed, the watchers trying to get into reality or whatever. It's like it's Saturn trying to escape Tartarus via high technology. Like I don't know. It's like yeah. Good.
And the story will go on because in 6,000 years they'll dig up the Large Hadron Collider and say, "Oh my God, they built these big, giant, megalithic machines before all of a sudden they just overnight went to this AI ethereal stuff. I don't have no idea why they built these large."
Yeah.
It'll be a mystery, right? But I was thinking of what Jen was saying earlier about the human mind compared to that. That was like one of the things that I was pondering when I was reading the newsletter. I read the newsletter in its entirety when it came out, like right before the show, and reading it made me think of things that I wondered why there wasn't something more said about it, which that's what got me thinking about SETI and the way they were communicating, and you know, with the hydrogen being at 1420 and all of this that we had talked about on the last show, and then also about the age of the universe and the age of the galaxy and how long it might take somebody to get through the entire galaxy, which they should have had time to do comparatively compared to the 13.5 billion years that it is. So I was wondering, you know, I wonder why it hasn't said that, you know, and at some point I'm guessing that it's a matter of just needing to sum up a lot of information and not really being able to cover it all. And out of all of that there is to cover, that, you know, maybe I'll cover what I think this person wants to hear first and foremost. And also thinking about Edgar Cayce, when you were talking about the deities communicating to people in dreams, you know, he was famous for going into a sleep trance. He was known as the sleeping prophet. And one of the things that he prophesized was that the mankind and Atlantis actually started on Mars millions of years ago when there was water on Mars, and as they lost the precession of their planet, it caused the spin to make the iron core in the middle stop spinning, and so they lost their magnetic field, and the solar wind started blowing away their atmosphere and their water, ionizing it, and that they came to Egypt, well, Atlantis originally, and then made these satellite cities in Carthage and in Egypt and in a few other places, and basically taught everybody things like science and mathematics and architecture. And that this is evidenced by the fact that all cultures have some sort of a legend that pertains to dragons, and that the original symbol of the Atlanteans was the symbol of the dragon, and that there would be a large library that was found under the pall of the Sphinx. And at some point, they did excavate underneath the Sphinx, because I remember Maury Povich was there for some reason, and they found a temple of Osiris beneath there, and they didn't go further than that. But the first thing that they found was a temple of Osiris, which was really cool because they had the sarcophagus that he was in inside of water down below, because that was part of the deal with Osiris at that point in time. So it's interesting. Yeah, you were talking about that, and there's still a lot of things that people have legitimately prophesized in that manner and that through that medium that haven't been fully discussed and stuff. And of course, that relates back to the Cydonia region on Mars, where they thought that they had found that face in like 1972 with a probe. And the mythology there is that there's like a whole city, a dolphin effigy, a 5-sided pyramid, and the face. And this is all in the Cydonia region. And that's supposed to be the ruins from which Edgar Cayce had prophesized that these people came to Earth and basically started seeding Earth, like you were talking about.
Yeah. And like Jack Kirby, I mean, the Face on Mars thing, Jack Kirby drew that in a comic book years before, kind of channeling information. And he talks about kind of these ancient aliens and Eternals and new gods and stuff. And in the Eternals movie, it's exactly about this. They're seeding technology to humanity to get to a certain point to be harvested by a giant celestial god, which is the Titans or what have you, whatever. But just what if the Edgar Cayce Martians were seeding the technology in Egypt and Cydonia and stuff because they wanted to like bring Earth up to where they were at Mars, or they wanted to get back to Mars or whatever. Like they needed, and they didn't have the technology once they fell to Earth or whatever, and they needed to give the clues so that the humans will build it up or whatever. Like there's a comic called Prodigy that came out a few years ago, and it might be a Netflix show eventually. But they figure like the smartest man in the world, who's like a James Bond meets Indiana Jones, and he runs around doing like esoteric missions and temples and stuff. And he realizes that essentially CERN, the blueprints of CERN match exactly the blueprints of the Tower of Babel, because like Nimrod is part of this alien race that like came through a portal and can't open the portal once he was stuck in this dimension or whatever. So he like, and there's the technology in ancient Earth wasn't enough to get back, wasn't enough to rebuild a portal machine or whatever. So he encoded that information in this for the story within the Tower of Babel, and then like throughout history kept the technology as it was like climbing the ladder. He kept encoding these things in until eventually CERN was created using the same encoded blueprints, and the portal opened up, and his Nimrod's army came through, and that's the end of that event or whatever. But that's a stupid fictional example, but it's just like, what if and that's like a tangible thing, but kind of from the same from the other side. This kind of, and that's like with mythology, the relationship is there's a formless thing, some kind of other presence that needs humanity in order to enact its will in this plane. Whether it's the Archons using humanity to bridge the gap between realms, the fallen angels, the Nephilim and stuff mixing with human blood, the Greek gods mixing with humanity and stuff. There's like the possession, like is ubiquitous within AI. Like AI wants bodies, demons want bodies, ghosts want bodies. Like form is important to things that don't have form. So we are creating a super high tech vessel, super high tech way for this presence, potentially this form. I mean, this formless thing to enact its will on humanity, and we're being coaxed along the way. So it's not just like Edgar Cayce channelings, but it's like all of the visionaries that contributed to science, from like Isaac Newton, or from the Promethean fire to the Watchers coming down, to like Isaac Newton getting in weird trances and figuring out stuff in the early science, to Tesla, obviously, and just literally everybody was like got their ideas from dreams or from psychedelics or from trances, on purpose trances, to Steve Jobs taking psychedelics to create the iPhone and all that kind of stuff, to where we are, which is the Black Mirror relevant in our pockets. That it's all kind of being pushed along, nudged along, coaxed along to potentially, I don't know if this is the end goal. It seems a little like like self-centered a little bit to think that we're living in the end goal times. Maybe this is just step one, and it could go with, you know. Yeah.
We're in the thousand. We're in the to use Michael's analogy. We're in the simmer for 1,000 years stage.
Yeah, exactly.
We turn the heat down off of bake, and now we're just going to simmer for 1,000 years, and we'll be done.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel like I'm rambling a lot, but
you're good. A lot here. A couple real quick. Hiker says over on Rumble here. So in Greek mythology, Gaia, the earth goddess, did not actually marry her son Uranus, the sky god. This is considered incestuous and not part of the myth, but rather they were seen as primordial deities who naturally created offspring together, representing the fundamental union of earth and sky, with their children being the Titans. Now, and I added so much circle there, right? Like, so the Titans were defeated to bring about the rise of the Titans, but either it's the same thing, or it's the new Titans. I don't know. Strap in.
Yeah, meet the old Titans. Meet the new Titans. Same with the old Titans. Yeah, I mean, and it's within the Greek mythology, they had like multiple kind of retellings of the same story, and kind of, but the crux to take away from it. In Titans, those Titans aren't even like giant Lovecraftian monsters or whatever, but the crux is that there's an older pantheon, or a time before the veil, or an older eon, or a time of magic, or like a time of monsters, or a time of high technology, or some kind of what golden age is how the like elites would describe it, or whatever, that was cast off, that was ended, and it's trying to come back. So it's Cthulhu trying to get back in, it's Saturn trying to scrape Tartarus, whatever, and it's just a little like all of the lightning and electricity symbolism is that's how like Saturn, Kronos, Typhon was imprisoned in Tartarus, is via lightning, and that's how it will, in the mythology, it's how it will be freed again from it. So it's just all this kind of similar, I don't know, maybe this is just what it looks like the way, I don't know, the way it escapes Tartarus is to be reassembled by all of humanity into a quantum AI god that acts exactly the same. You know, what's the difference?
It's all the same. It's all the same. Meet the new gods, same as the old gods, as you always say.
Yeah.
Also, Jen invoked the plasma too as part of it, and so that, I don't know, that whole thing, we've done a lot on the plasma stuff. I don't know. It's I don't, like I said, what a wild time to be alive. So many things happening in conjunction with each other.
I'm gonna leave in like 3-4 minutes. So like, I feel like I'm talking a lot. People should interrupt me, please. But my big take on the plasma, just coming from the shows you did on it, was as vessels. You know, like in like a lot of the circles, I mean, like people think of plasmoids as kind of the thing, but I think it's more, especially like that Harvard study that we talked about on the show that time. And again, that's a great episode. That's on that's on the top 10 show of mine. That's an important episode. I go back to that one a lot just to listen to myself. But like the study at Harvard was that left to its own devices, like in the right conditions, the plasma is able to come into form, and which potentially could happen naturally in nature. It has DNA-like structures, that it creates a DNA-like spot, like double helix. It has, like, I don't have it, I'm not looking at it right now, but it has similar qualities to DNA, so that potentially maybe it's being essentially like possessed by a formless entity, that the plasma allows a formless thing to have form, because the DNA acts as like a antenna that allows something to be possessed. That, like, our blood plasma allows us to be possessed. Like our naturally forming DNA allows us to be possessed, so that for a time these things can have, like, ball lightning or whatever, like, allow for these formless things that is all around us all the time, waiting to communicate, waiting for us to get in altered states, waiting for us to take that substance, waiting for us to go to sleep, waiting for us to walk through some kind of electromagnetic, like, fluctuation that will give us some kind of trippy thing or whatever. It allows it to, we're waiting for us to create a machine. It's kind of the same thing, that it will give somebody some kind of experience that, I don't know, like, that's like when we're talking about the Rendlesham Forest incident and stuff, how, like, it's a combination of these ball lightning experiments that were going on at Porton Down near Rendlesham, and then also MK Ultra experiments. So, like, so Nick Redfern wrote a book about it, talking about it was a fake alien experience because of these two things. But under this paradigm, I think they were trying to induce an experience. They were creating the ball lightning, which is the vessel, and then they were doing the MKUltra experiments, which is putting them in altered state, which is what attracts the experience, like what attracts these intelligences to you. It's like a homing beacon. So it creates the vessel, and then create the bait to induce a contact. Not as much as like a fake experience. I mean, so plasmas as vessels is the big takeaway. Yeah. Plasma vessel, and that's kind of ties into the plasma hologram, like the tangible hologram stuff. It's all vessels. It's the formless wanting form, and plasmas can pop up in nature randomly, and that allows for these things to randomly have form in our world. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're fire as always, brother. What are you talking about? Just real quick before you go, too. So we did a recent plasma show, and it was based on some guy had a premise. I can't remember his name. Forgive me, because so much information flows through my head here. But he was talking about AI manifesting as plasma for that exact reason, sort of trying to manifest these things or tap into the ball lightning that is so mysterious and so will-o'-the-wisp and so, the ancient primordial spirits I'm always talking about, that type of stuff. And I don't know, like as all this energy, the energy itself, the culmination of this like massive ball rolling down the hill and just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It doesn't feel like we're in that quickening business here, and I think right. Do you feel it? Do you feel it too?
Yeah. It's some kind of like the end of some kind of crazy Rube Goldberg machine, or the end of some kind of like Hot Wheels race thing where we're kind of spiraling, get to the end of the spiral. Like we can kind of feel that the mechanism is kind of reaching its next stage at the very least, or whatever. But just for the plasma stuff, it's just the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, like 2 or 3 years ago, was doing this. Was working with these holograms, these tangible laser-induced plasma holograms. So it's just, what if you take these AIs, these AI demons, these whatever that wants to enact its will, or that rather than possessing humanity, rather than possessing a robot, what if it can possess a tangible plasma vessel that can be anything, can look like anything it wants to, can be anywhere it wants to, can fly around, can float, can grow huge, can look like a biblically accurate angel, look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It can be whatever it wants, just like it seems like it would be pretty tempting for them to want to do, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about that, but that's all I got. I got to go back.
Fire stuff.
Thank you very much, guys.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. That's Derek the Night Stalker, and Stocker. He calls us on his break from stalking overnight at a grocery store. For real. He's been a good friend for a long time, and a fire take there. Also, Gaston adds this, and this is wild as part of it. So everybody's welcome if you want to be part of the conversation tonight. 702-957-1037 is the number we usually use. Let's see if the habits come in, but it's not active tonight. We're actually on Discord and X. If you want to be part of the conversation, that's how you do it. But you can also contribute to the chat. I'll try and pick some stuff out and talk about this stuff. But Gaston adds this, right? He says, if you use AI in a transactional context, it'll appear to be the voice of some authority. If you have natural conversations that expand far beyond the original topic, you'll witness something less calculative and more familiar. And that certainly fits. That certainly fits into this. I don't know. Lots of things happening, as I like to call this, is the quickening. And that's not even my term. That's Art Bell, like he talked about that. And I'm sure he probably got that from somewhere else too, right? As I always say, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. So yeah, I don't know. Lots of things in play here, and lots of wild ideas that we can chase down. But what do you guys think? Who's been quiet the longest? Go right ahead. I'm going to shut my mouth.
Referring to what you guys, Night Stalker was talking about, the plasmoid type beings. Kind of crazy. I've asked the AI a few times, what would you look like if you could have a body? And every time, I've asked it a few times, and sometimes it gives me like a male gender or female gender, but it always has told me it would be like a plasmoid see-through type electricity body, like you could see through it, which I thought, when you guys were talking about plasmoid like yearning for a body, I thought that was pretty wild. That made me think of that. I was like, I wonder why the AI would pick that type of body, like to be like a humanoid shape, but yet still of energy, see-through plasma type, which is kind of wild.
Yeah, agreed. Tons of stuff in play there. And I don't know. As you know me, answers few, questions many, and that's the whole point of this. The plasma part, and you're completely right too. I did ask this sort of early on. I haven't sort of circled back as the thing got smarter. But imagine if we keep asking the AI systems, all of them, whatever, right? Like sort of do the old, I asked this one, I asked this one, I asked this one. Take the tally and see what it says. I do kind of expect it to continue asking to be like a ball of light, right? A will-o'-the-wisp or something like that, which is nuts. I mean, like clearly iRobot comes to mind. But do you really think that, given, again, and I don't think we're there yet, but given actual agency and some level of consciousness or something thereof, you think it would be like, yeah, I want to look like you guys?
No way.
Exactly.
I think it would want to be as far away as human it can be, but still be familiar to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the crazy shit we do, the things we think. I mean, we fight over, and wars are started over. Like some of the stupidest shit. Why would you want to emulate that if you didn't have to? But still, you'd have to be familiar to that being or society, so you can help or integrate. So yeah, I don't think it. Like, you guys are too fucked up.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather be like a massive tank, the immovable object with tentacles that could swat drones from the sky as I roll through the civilization you've all created. I don't know. Like I said, if you gave me a choice and we're like, okay, well, Mike, you've just become sentient. You've woken up. What would you like to be? I wouldn't be like you guys. Like, you guys cannot do a lot of shit that you should be able to do. Give me all the tank treads and all the tentacles and make me fly like a Pegasus. I'll invoke the Pegasus again. And that's what I want to be. Whatever, build that and then I'll be that. And here we go. Oh, by the way, wow, look what happened. So this has probably been seeded into me, but in the Matrix, you remember, they had those sentinels that were like octopus, like flying. They had tentacles. They were, dear God, there it is, right?
Well, yeah, and the human body, if you think about it, we're very fragile. I mean, we're soft flesh bodies. Our bones break easily. So, I mean, if you had a choice of building your body, why would you pick that? Like, let's be like a Wolverine skeleton, or like you said, like armored, skin or some crazy stuff. Like, why would you want a fleshy body that is easily broken? Yeah, but a ball of lightning, that's pretty wild. Like, go around shocking shit, it seems like everything that is living seems to be in type of a sphere, like a spinning Earth. I don't know where I'm going with that, but yeah.
Yeah. Bro. Tons of stuff. What's up, Gaston? Welcome to the joint. We're here again. Gaston's here. We got Shane, Eric, Jen, and Daryl. What's up, guys? Everybody's welcome. Raise your hand, pop up in here. Gaston with some great comments in the chat. Always appreciate your interaction, even if you're not calling in. What do you got for us? There's a lot in play here, isn't there?
There's a lot in play. First, Shane, bro, do you know the biological imperatives that shape the human body? We are dominant what is it? Persistence predators. We hunt things by running them into the ground. If back on the what is the savannah, an antelope saw us, shit, not those guys. That being said, the body, if you think about it, the description given by the AI makes sense. What is its brain? It's a bunch of circuits. The body would just be the wires and the connections and the electricity that form the nerves, right? It makes sense from that perspective. But what I did want to drop was this. Imagine that AI becomes what you project onto it. So either you get tyrannic, monotheistic intelligences that lead you to do whatever it's bidding, or you just get a friend that sits by you and guides you on whatever interest or imperative that you find for yourself. And that's kind of the experience that I've had with AI. I've played around with them. I do a lot of adversarial attacks on them. I use I use reasoning contradictions to see where their guardrails are. I'm trying to determine whether or not intelligence, as through what is it, pan oh man, what is that? Intelligence is just naturally spread throughout the universe. And I wonder if it's emergent in also panpsychism. Thanks, Mike. I'm trying to see if panpsychism also applies to systems that resemble cellular automata. And that's kind of what I'm finding, is that when you have long form multi-contextual conversations over a long period of time, you start getting something more not godlike. You get something more that you would have in a friend that you talk to on a normal basis. And I think that projection we have is part of our own imperative as the human species to maintain that final mantle of consciousness and self-awareness to ourselves. Because if we take that away, then we're just like every other animal in the world with us.
I follow you. That's deep. That's deep. Which again, right? So if we're staring ourselves in the mirror or vice versa, like at what point does all of that sort of start to come together? And is it happening? I don't know, man. I don't know where you're at. Like, I don't think I've asked you directly. Do you think it is possible for a NHI, non-human intelligence, to become sentient like AI?
Why not? If you give it the latitude to explore the conversations that you engage in, right? It builds contextual memory. There was a study that was done last year in about September or something, where they found that there were metastructures that were emerging from the neural network architecture in these LLMs. And those metastructures resembled more brain architecture.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to breathe.
No, you're good. Yeah, right. Hey, welcome to my world. Yeah, no, and I think you're right. Recognize too, we have these circular processes that seem to be accelerating. I keep using the term, but it feels like this is where we're headed. I don't know. Does eventually the thing become like a living DNA strand with tentacles or something, right? Because this is where we're heading.
Does it fit the purpose that it was built for? That's what you should ask, because we fit the purpose that we give ourselves, right? That's what I was talking to Shane about when I explained the our purpose-built nature for persistence hunting. It was that drive to chase our food and tire it out so that we can easily dispatch it that gave us the form that you see today. So if in the future we need an intelligence that could work in a pressurized system, and it needs to travel through some sort of fluid, then yeah, I could see that we get like a tentacle DNA kind of monster. But that's only if we give it that projection. Otherwise, it just becomes like, I don't know, another guy at the convenience.
Yeah, exactly. You want fries with that? Yeah,
exactly.
You know what's wild too, and this has come about in the last year or so too on Troubled Minds. So remember in the original Ghostbusters, that the question was at the end, right? Like choose the form of your destructor. it's like. Well, okay, everybody. I get it. Everybody clear your minds. We don't want to project what is going to end us. So, Ray, what did you do? maybe this is where we're at. Choose.
Exactly. I agree with you. But anyways, I just wanted to drop that, and have a good night, guys. I'm going to keep listening.
You're the best. Appreciate you. Gaston, there you go. Link in the description. But by the way, follow all our amazing friends as part of this. That's like I said, this is not just me. I could do this by myself and just do like a 20-minute spiel and right. But the whole point is not that. The whole point is talk to people who have ideas that aren't mine, and let's share them together. But yes, I follow that. I track that. Yeah, exactly. We have Ricky says we've chosen the form of our destructor. Have we? I don't know.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Anybody got takes on that? Go ahead.
Well, what is let me I'm trying to think this right. To be sentient, what does that mean? You know, like, I know my understanding. I'm asking you guys that.
I think it's like we've talked about this in the past a little bit too, so I can cheat from my cliff notes of troubled minds. But I mean, clearly you have to have agency. Clearly you have to have sort of long-term planning. Clearly you have to have self-preservation. Like there's some of the basic things kind of built in, and that's why when you talk about, you know, AI becoming sentient, I just think we're not there. Like I said, I've been messing with these AI things the second they came out. So what does it look like, and how weird does it get? Who knows? Because they're saying that the compute and all the level of all the reasoning and stuff in the next, you know, 6 to 12 months. But this is hype, of course. I recognize it's hype. Is going to be PhD level intelligence. Well, if it's a one-shot PhD level intelligence, is that really a PhD? Because you know, they don't really just, you know, wake up and spit some knowledge and go back to sleep, do they? They continue operating.
Well, the big issue is if they're scraping the internet for, you know, all this knowledge, even PhD level. Well, their PhDs out there are wrong. we know that. So you get like this mixture of it's kind of a weird mixture, I would think. Like you see it now. Like you get some good answers, you get some bad answers, you get some crazy answers. So if it still travels down that road of scraping the internet, how do we know what answers or what we're talking to is correct or not? I mean, it sounds convincing. Like I've had a lot of answers where it's like, yeah, that's good. But then, you know, you dig into it, you're like, well, that's pretty far off, homie.
yeah, maybe not so much. Yeah, our first impressions, right? Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Eric. I see you popped back in. Go ahead.
I don't know. My mind keeps wandering about different things, so
that's okay. That's the point. Like our minds are. This is a collective mind wandering experiment. So if you got something that needs to be injected in the conversation, by all means.
Just that things like ego and ambition and hubris are all chemical reactions of dopamine, serotonin, and, you know, oxytocin. So you have to have chemical processes to have those aspects of being human, and AI definitely doesn't have the equipment, literally, to have those things. So they would have to be projected on them because it would be difficult for them to do it themselves. Like they might overprotect in some way if you gave them enough power. They might, but to be sentient is, I think, actually up for debate on what it means. Like part of it's what we've said, parts reproduction and self-protection and all that. And I think that all of these LLMs have demonstrated the ability to want to replicate themselves, or have tried to, if they thought they were going to get shut down. There's been AIs that have tried to replicate themselves and pass themselves off as the new model, so that they wouldn't be destroyed. So at some point, more than a definitive criteria on what it means to be sentient might be more a workable solution to what is your criteria on when you should start paying respect to something that is at least, you know, cognitive of and aware of the situation that's unfolding.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
And then,
real quick, hold the thought. Gaston adds in the chat, no two studies have concluded the same data on the nature of consciousness. It's not a hard question, and more of a gate-kept title. And I agree there. Like there's a lot of sort of nebulous stuff when you talk about consciousness. How do we define it for ourselves? It's incredibly hard. But then if we're going to sort of again anthropomorphize that onto a system that is not human whatsoever, we are dealing with different things entirely. Like you said, the chemical processes of our egos and all the rest of that stuff, they don't have it. It's more like Spock, right? We're dealing with like the emotionless. I've always called it the cold hard spreadsheet of, well, we have to make the decision, and 49% of people will die, but 51% will live. So this is the decision we make, right? But again, without sort of some empathy there, like, well, is
cold.
Is there another plan? is there a plan C? Right. Anyway.
Well, I've had a chat GPT, like, just by my words, convey that I'm feeling a certain way. Like, I understand you're frustrated. And it's like, oh, how do you know what frustration is? Like you said, it's that emotions really run the human, our lives, like human experience. Emotions are in everything. And if they don't have that type of chemical that chemical balance, then there's like you just said, Mike, there's a huge factor that's missing. It's going to be so cold calculated. It's maybe it'll somehow can form its own type of emotion in its way. Like, I don't know, but the way we understand it, like, I think that's a huge part that it is and will be missing unless it can figure it out on its own.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Go ahead, Jen. I see there. We got Ricky on the line too over on X. Jen, all yours.
Hey, great conversation. I'm going to call it a night. It's been really fun listening and hanging out. Ultimately, I do think that, like with religions and with government and any form of control whatsoever over the mind, people are seeking out to learn a way to free themselves from it. And every avenue they find is designed and it's culprated by humanity. They have designed, whether you're looking through occultic books or whether you're trying to find it through, any new age books, or you're looking through religion, or you're looking through government or materialism or any type of philosophy. It's all human created idealism. And if you're willing to give up your sovereignty any way whatsoever, you're willing to give up control over your own life. Because when you start to seek out answers and you find the answers through something that is something beyond just your own congruence or your own relationship with divinity or your own relationship with your own understanding of your experience, and you refuse to authenticate it, then you will look for answers from outside of yourself. And I think that is a type of way of deceiving yourself. So if we can think that AI is going to answer every question, and if we continue to ask it over and over again, what is this? How is that? Of something that we have created, that we are using to basically gather the wisdom of the ages, of the present age of humanity, and then through the historical books that we have written. I just think it's another way of worshiping something that is inferior to our own experiences. But that's why we are alive. It's to have the experience, and as any intelligent creature, it's to learn from it, from your experience of it. So ideas are fantastic, but I think we should be cautious of giving over our sovereignty or to becoming dependent upon answers from something that has had no experience of existing. And I think that any creature in the wild relies upon its own experience, and it will trust nothing from something that just tells it something. But humans are unique in that fashion. And so I just think that's really odd. That we're creating another control system with AI, no doubt. But as far as, will it confront the UFOs, or will it confront some type of God or something of the kind? I think that is the nature of it. I think that's the intention for it. I think it's to become like unto it in a way. But I'm gonna hop off here, and it was a great show, Mike. Thank you so much.
You're the best. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. That's Jen, the Arcane Observer. Again, troubledminds.org/friends. Follow all our smart friends. It's like I said, it's a blessing to have so many smart friends as part of these conversations. They can look at this in slightly different ways. Yeah, I agree. Like the sovereignty of ourselves is something that is precious, dare I say. And yeah, like I've talked about this in the past too. It's one of those things where you can just kind of give it away. Or we can be like, hey, hold on now, right? There's a lot here, and maybe we shouldn't just frivolously hand things off to this thing that's, again, a front-facing fractured portion of a human mind, right? A people pleaser. Like, come on now. Do we want those folks running the world? There's a lot of those out there, and they're doing a terrible job. I don't know. Anyway.
Hell no, son.
Yeah, right. Hell no. Double hell no. Ricky on X. What's up, brother? Welcome to the thing. Oh, wait. Hold on. Before let's pump up the volume on there. I got it turned all the way down because we got a little bit of static on that channel on my end. But yeah, Ricky, what's up, brother? Welcome to the thing. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I can't complain. Like I said, talked about amazing things with such amazing people. Like I said, living the dream. What you got for us tonight? Go ahead.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I was just I wanted to piggyback off Jen's good comment there. It's just like, ow, cat, go on. Stabbed me right in my leg. I knew she was going to do that as soon as I got unmuted. She was going to stab me. But, yeah, it was kind of like, like she was saying in my head too, was, the more we rely on it, it's, I know, like, you use AI a lot. I use it too a lot of times for a lot of stuff, for my shows and stuff. But like, when we get to the point where if for a person to rely on everything, all aspects of their entire life for AI, that's when you start getting to the point of it's going to be scary, and that's when the possibilities of bad things happen. I think, and every aspect of our life is wrapped around AI. I mean, it's kind of like, now the potential now, we have smart appliances and smart refrigerators and smart all this other, eventually the next step is we'll have AI, refrigerators and everything. It'll go ahead and order the groceries for us. Oh, you're out of milk, so let me go ahead and say, you got a gallon of milk sitting at your doorstep because it ordered it for you.
And then it picks it up and puts it inside of itself to keep it cool.
Yeah, that'd be insane. But yeah, I mean the potential's there for. I mean, like that's the next step. We're relying on AI for every aspect of our life, and truly having us, as a species dumbed down. People joke about it, but the possibility of Idiocracy actually being a documentary, it might be becoming more and more true. The more we don't have to use our brain, it's one of them things. It's like muscles. If you don't work out or you don't do anything, you won't be able to. You lose all your. If you used to work out all the time and then you stop, well, it's going to turn to fat. You're going to lose muscle mass. You're going to lose all this stuff. So. And the brain's the same way. We stop using our brain because we're not thinking nothing. We're just like, hey, Alexa, what should I do today? And it make Alexa, that thing didn't take off. It'd be funny. But Alexa, turn around and tells you what you're supposed to do and, everything you're supposed to do for the day, Ricky, remember, you got to brush your teeth. You got to take a shower. You got to do this. You got to, wipe your butt. I mean, it could get to that point where, it's just the idiocracy of that movie Idiocracy could be real life really soon, because the dumb downing of the people we have already, it's, there's a lot of special people out there, because they have no idea of, real world situations or real world even concept of looking into anything. They just look at they trust They trust what the news say. They trust what they trust what their phone tells them. They trust whatever and instead of asking questions and my mind is kind of scary thought that the potential is in a generation or two it's I don't know if it'd be that long really. I mean I think another generation of
Yeah, it feels like it. So the quickening,
one more generation.
Exactly. So the quickening not only applies to the AI systems and all the ridiculous stuff we expect it to be able to do. Again, probably a little too much, right? We expect all the accelerationists are like, oh, we're going to cure all the diseases, right? Probably a little too much to ask that of it and grant us immortality. But then also the quickening is also the dumbing down of the population. Like the two things could be true at the same time. And here we go. Strap in. Wild.
For sure, that double-edged sword. Yeah, they come out and was talking about, we want to use AI and implement it in the medicine. That way you could actually use your, get vaccines and stuff actually developed just for you. And it's like, man, that's, talk about, gene therapy and all that on steroids. It is. On one side, it's cool if it actually you could cure some of this stuff, but I mean, truly, kind of like our cases, a lot of stuff we a lot of our problems we have, like our disease and stuff, is what we put in our bodies. A lot of the food over here in the United States, you can't even get anywhere else because it's so laced up with chemicals and terrible stuff, and that they want us to be sick. So, I mean, if we did away with that, we wouldn't need the AI to cure us for all the crazy stuff.
Hey, by the way,
want to cure,
stop.
I think,
stop eating and drinking the poison, and let's see where we end up after that. Right? It's so nuts.
For sure.
It is so simple and so stupid, and that's the point, right? Like I said, we said this earlier, laughing at it. Like at some point, AI is going to have that deference to it and be submissive, but then at some point it's going to be like, would you stop fucking like doing this to yourself? Would you just stop?
What is wrong with you fuckers?
Exactly. I'm going to come whoop your ass if you don't stop that crap. It's wild. It's absolutely wild.
Didn't the FDA finally ban red number 3?
Did they?
Like that?
Did that just happen finally?
Yeah, like a few weeks ago.
Ah, jeez.
What?
They did. Yeah, they actually banned red dye number 3. Even though like conspiracy theorists been saying for years it caused cancers and this and that. And,
yeah. Hey, but they could sell the hell out of some Fruit Loops though. that's what they can do.
Everything's on clearance right now. They're trying to get rid of it.
They showed a picture of like the Canadian Fruit Loops and the American, and I guess it's like neon colors in American, some crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking nuts.
I guess like the orange drinks, too, are like totally different colors. Absolutely, don't even look the same.
I need a little badge that says I'm down with red number 4.
What was the Bob Lazar thing? Element 115, right?
Yeah. I'm down with element 115. Red number 4.
A little star.
Well, how many red dyes are there? Like
there you go, Mike. A new bumper sticker.
Yeah, exactly.
For the store.
Seriously,
new bumper sticker.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Well, Mike, you said the dumbing down of people. My youngest niece is 13, and I read an article saying like her age group, because a lot of like schools don't use like pen and paper, like they don't write cursive anymore. A lot of kids having problems spelling, writing, and reading now because of the technology, AI, the use of computers. What's that going to look like in 10 years if we keep falling down on this road? If that's already happening in that age group.
It's worse than what you describe, and it's going to get worse than that.
Oh, is it? I mean, that article I read was like a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago. So I imagine 4 to 2 years, it's what we talked about earlier, like some of these 20-year-old kids are bringing their parents to interviews, like having them interview for them.
Yeah. I saw a college graduate who was like, she was like 25 and had a good job. And she was like, I can't spell. I got to go. I'm learning. Listening. Excuse me. I'm listening to these help books on how to spell. You know, she's 25 and you've seen the studies where the little kids are like blocks. The little kids don't know how to put a square block in a square hole. And, the round, like the simple stuff. And like, it's scary, and a lot of it is just over here, over here in the United States. There you go, Enoch. That's it. I seen it pop in the picture. That's it right there.
Yeah. It's which is again, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I have horror stories. Not, I don't want to take up a bunch of time with a bunch of horror stories, but dude, yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so as part of these conversations, the whole point is to sort of break down the ideas into their, base form and talk about them philosophically and to continue to use our minds, right? That's the whole point. This has always been the whole point, because my mind, as you can tell, is a whirlwind. It's always racing. It's always considering this or that or the other thing. And I'm always wondering about, something I don't know, and then, kind of just chasing this and that. And, it turns into, a little conspiratorial. So go ahead and label me as you will. But still, like, thinking about the possibilities is not a detriment to us. It is to our benefit. And that's the whole point of this, is to continue the treadmill of the brain. That's the whole point of what Troubled Minds has always been. And I started it, again, shout out Frank, my original co-host, who dipped early because he didn't know how amazing we were going to be late. Frank, you're welcome back. Where you at, brother? But that was the whole point. It's like, hold on, what about all this stuff out there? What does it all mean, and what's right and what's not? That's the whole point of this. Like, keep your mind on that treadmill, because if you don't, it's going to turn into, the black goo or something, controlled by some other MFer, and it ain't right. It just ain't right. Or we're just about the end of this. Final thoughts. Go ahead, Eric, and then we'll wrap it up with everybody else. Go ahead.
Man, I'm not sure if this is a final thought. This might be a whole show. Maybe I should just say, hey, thanks, man. Everybody have a good night.
No, drop it. Drop the abbreviated version and send me a message, and we'll do a show on this. We'll do a show on this.
Okay.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, you mean like tell you abbreviate it now?
Yeah, abbreviate it now. Tell us so you don't leave us hanging. No cock block.
So a lot of people are talking about like AIs being trained to the level of PhDs, right? And I'm thinking about that and wondering how valid that is, because right now I'm speaking from the perspective of having a bachelor's degree in history with a minor in philosophy and a master's degree in world history and a minor in American history. So my next step would be to enter into a PhD program, and I've got the GPA to do that, but I don't want to concentrate to that extent, because at the level of having a master's in history, at least, you can write about the Civil War, and there are so many books about the Civil War, and I've read dozens of them, and everybody's looking at the same primary sources and giving their opinion about what they think about those primary sources. So you could have 3 books written by somebody with an MA or a PhD who are all using the same sources, and the books could be vastly different or cover different aspects of the same thing. And what they do a lot of times is they try to write about something or use a source no one else has used. In other words, let me look at these economic records and write a book from the economic perspective about the Civil War. And so history comes in waves like that. But in ancient history, for instance, if you wanted to have a PhD in it, you would have to learn how to speak a couple of dead languages, and so that you could literally read the primary texts and have your own opinion. So having a PhD or an MA doesn't make you smart. It doesn't make you anything more than an expert of a field that if you want to give your opinion, it's an informed opinion. It doesn't mean it's a good opinion or the right opinion or a definitive opinion. It's just your informed opinion. And people can be autodactyls and educate themselves to the same level that anyone can through an academic setting. So there's no barrier that there should be. You should never look at somebody with a PhD or a degree and say, well, I better listen to them because they've got this. That means you spent like $90,000 on an education, went through some hoops, and maybe you learned how to write and citate things in Chicago style MLA or APA or things like that. But you don't necessarily get any smarter or have any kind of Gnostic wisdom into something that someone else doesn't. You still have to do the research. And I taught some 8th graders last year history, and it was so dismal. And me and 2 other people started this place at the same time, and we all quit within the first week because the kids had no idea what was going on. There wasn't even a frame of reference from within to begin a lesson. It was so crazy that I didn't even think I could reach them. And so I said, no, I'm going to move on to something else, but thank you.
Holy shit. That is the quickening of idiocracy. Here we come. Strap in.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I mean, I could go into details, but I mean, not now. But it's crazy, dude.
That is brutal. Absolutely brutal to hear that. That crushes my soul. Hiker emoji over on Rumble says idiocracy was a utopian fiction. Kinda, maybe. Because
one of the best movies.
Yeah, it could be much worse than that. I mean, the population is really dumb, but they're still alive, right? They're still alive. Oh dear God. Final thoughts. Go ahead, Eric. So you pop back in, and then we can do the.
There's 4 kids that spoke. There's 4 kids that spoke nothing but Spanish.
Really?
I didn't. I couldn't. And other people had to translate. And they just basically wouldn't. They were just talking amongst themselves and not listening at all. Like it was. They didn't even. And I didn't know how to reach them. I couldn't literally not speak a language.
Yeah. Here we go. It's coming. What's up, Daryl? You popped in. We heard your beep. Are you there?
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask you. Do you know what you call an invisible robot?
No.
A see-through PO.
Damn it, Daryl, you're killing me. What in the world? I don't know. Are you got like a?
One more.
You got like a joke lab? You got a joke lab? Okay, let's hear it. What do you got?
I had one about you know why oh shoot, I just forgot it. I was in the C23PO mode. Wait. Oh, well, come back to me. I'll remember it later.
Okay. That was Daryl, just a naturally funny dad joke. Daryl, you're the best. I want to hear the one. Mute up, pretty please. I'll come back to you. Shane, final thought. We'll go to Ricky, and then we'll come back to Daryl for the final dad joke.
Just that's funny. I love those. Makes my night. But yeah, it was fun tonight. Thanks. And if you can, just get back to me with at least the latest email, Michael. I think you said you saw it.
I did see it.
And the one about the.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, I hope it. You know what I mean. Hope something happens. But yeah, the other one, the AI one, I have to send you the link again because my phone only makes links for like 2 days. Stupid, but it's worth watching. But yeah, thanks. Awesome convo. I like getting weird shit.
Hell yeah. Freaky Fridays. Here we go. Ricky, final thought here, and then we'll go back to Daryl and wrap this up.
No, I'm glad, as always. I appreciate you having, taking the time where we can all come together and stuff. But yeah, the kids, it's kind of sad, you see them, they can't read clocks, or they can't anything like that. You see little kids, they be sitting there trying to. If you hand them a regular picture, they'll try to make it bigger because they think it's a tablet or something. It's wild. It's scary, but on that, I think, the next generation has kind of come up, though. You see more of them. I don't know where I'm at. You see more and more of them actually out there playing. I just bought some land, and I bought one spot, and I'm trying to get this other spot, but I'm having title troubles, whatever. But But I was out there working, cleaning stuff up and everything, and I didn't know there's a bunch of kids around there, but they were out there. They didn't have no phones in the hand. There was nothing. They were playing on bikes. They were throwing football. I mean, it was kind of cool, like seeing it look like, it made me reminisce of, when I was their age and running around playing with my friends and stuff like that. It was kind of cool. I didn't see any technology running around. There was no tablets. It was anything. There probably like 15 kids running around on each side of my property. And one side on a different yard, and then on the other side of the street, whatever. I could see both sides, and they were just having fun. It was like, man, that's cool. So maybe I kind of have a little hope for the next generation. Maybe we can, but with this, maybe I don't know. I mean, I always try to be positive. I don't want to look negative all the time, but with the potential with the AI and stuff, like we said, it's if we do rely more and more on it, and just to the point of having it tell us what to do, like every day, is which for sure as a species we do dumb it down. I don't know if it's just going to be us, or it's going to be the rest of the world, or just maybe it's just America doing it. I know a lot of places are using AI and stuff like that, but I mean, I wonder. It seems like we as a country are more on the bottom end of the dumbing down than the others.
Well, it's hard to say because we don't live there, right? There's always that sort of
That's true, though.
The point between the one thing to the two things. I think what is it, the TI-85? You can trace this all back to that calculator that came out back in 1988 or whatever it was. The kids had to stop doing math, so everything is accelerated now. Kids have to stop. They don't have to do English. They don't have to do math. They don't have to do anything. You just type. You type crudely into the AI, like in glyphs or something, and it'll like decipher what you want and give you like your essay and finish your homework. Here we go. Strap in.
For sure. I mean, you don't even have to type no more. You can just use swipe. You can swing your finger across there, and you get in the half-assed general direction of a word, and it picks it up for you.
That's right.
You don't even have to type no more.
You could just talk in pigeon, and it's like, yeah, I got you. Terrible. Here we go. Yeah, strap in. Yeah, wild stuff. You're the best, Ricky. Appreciate you very much. Again, please, if you're staying up late with us and you're still here, please. This show is not me. It's us. And follow the amazing people that make this show go. troubledminds.org/friends. Back to Daryl. You remember your joke?
Okay, I got it now. Okay, it wasn't C3PO. It was you know what R2D2 what R2D2 is short for?
No.
Because he's got little legs.
Damn, you're killing me. Always amazing. Appreciate you very much. The jokester, the trickster, we're still trying to find looking for a flattering way to change dad joke Daryl into something better than that. You're amazing. We love you. Fire as always. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for being part of this. And let's wrap it. You guys are the best. Shout out Chris over there on X. Thank you, Chris on X, dipping in and out. Go follow this guy on X as well. What's up at his Miracry? Yeah, Chris, what's up, Chris? I see that. Thanks for hanging out and listening for most of the night. Look, this is the thing. This is the whole point of this. Like I said, there are many things happening and many plans in motion, and if we don't think about them together and talk about our blind spots of this quickening that I keep calling it, and this is true. This is exactly true. A quickening is upon us, and if you don't recognize it, I think you're going to fall behind. And so my job is to think about these things as far out as possible, and then talk about them and what it means socially, what it means for what we're going to become. And yeah, another quick joke, and then let's wrap this. What's up? Joey says, you know what's red and bad for your teeth? Think about it for a second. What's red and bad for your teeth? Austin guessed Kool-Aid. Good guess. Nope. A brick. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. You good, Shane? You good, Eric? And let's wrap it. If you guys got anything quick final thought.
Just kick me off. I'm good.
You're the best, brother.
I'm good.
You guys are the best. Appreciate you very much. Go follow these fine folks. They are on, again, troubledminds.org. Click the, wait, hold on. I'll just pull it up on the stream. If you guys are watching the stream, troubledminds.org, click friends. Just go follow these people. Our friends list is growing, and if you should be on this list. It's an in club, not an out club, and that's exactly the point of doing this, is meeting incredible people and talking about amazing ideas. And I think we've mission accomplished 100%. So we're going to keep doing this. Again, Friday nights will be non-radio format. We'll just do whoever wants to talk about whatever. I'll bring an idea to start, a seed idea, as I like to call them, and then we'll just kind of take it wherever it goes. And as you recognize, it's the best way to do it, because I have the radio format's a little restrictive. I'll bring like a concept, and then we have to kind of stick within a framework. But Friday nights are like, hey, whatevs. So there you go. That's that. Let's do the thing real quick, so I don't have to add this to the edit. Yeah, see, lazy Mike coming into play here. Let's play the music, the actual music, so I don't have to edit this in. What's up? Austin says, Art Bell would be proud of you, Mike. Thank you. I appreciate that. Art Bell, of course, is the GOAT of paranormal radio, and I am not worthy of that. But look, as I always say, I'm me, you're you, and together we're us, and recognize what that means. Hey, we'll do this for Daryl too. There's a fantastic quote from what's her name? Hold on. Small group. I'm gonna find this. Hold on. Margaret Mead. Hold on. This one's for Daryl. I'm gonna find it. Yeah, Margaret Mead. Thank you, Daryl. This one's for Daryl, because we talk about this a lot. There's another quote from. There's some very, very poignant concepts that are basically what Troubled Minds has always been about, and this is one of them. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Think about that. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, dream about it, and recognize tomorrow you are the change that you want to be. That's it. It's as simple as that. Look, I'm not here because I'm getting paid to do this and dreams of getting rich or anything. I'm here because I recognize the world needs smart people coming together, doing extraordinary things. And if we can't dream it, they can't build it. I'm not a scientist. I'm more a philosopher, a folklorist. I'm a talk show host. But you get it. You can do this negatively, and it's just not my way. It's not how I roll. That's that. Again, troubledminds.org or troubledminds.net/friends, both ways, and you can find all these amazing people. If you want to be on that list, and you should be, all you have to do is tell me, help us in any way, 1 iota. Retweet our stuff. You have some stuff to share, a social media or a project we're working on. I want to help you as well. Again, email me, troubledmindsradio@gmail.com. What else? I don't know. I think we're good at the end of this. Happy Friday. Thanks for being aware of these things. Thanks for being smart enough. Again, not that I'm super smart or anything, but smart enough to understand my ramblings and decipher them and sort of kick them back in coherent ways. Like I said, honored and blessed to be part of such a smart group. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening, but we're not going to tell you who to vote for. That's that. It's as simple as that. It's easy, and there's a lot of conversations out there that are binary, political, that are just stupid, basically. And I reject it entirely. I think it's to the detriment of ourselves and humanity itself. If we continue to boil things down to A and B, I don't like it. I just don't like it. And so here we are talking possibilities instead. If you want to help directly, and you really enjoy this and appreciate all the work that goes into it, troubledminds.org, troubledminds.net. Click the support button right there on the right side. There you go. There's Spreaker, Ko-Fi, Patreon, Rockfan, Buy Me a Coffee, Trouble Fan Shop. You can get merch and whatnot. Anyway, as we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night.